Hello. It is super late Monday, almost Tuesday. And I don't know, it's been one of those days. It's been a long, rough day. Had a very busy weekend, came home exhausted, had a headache all day long. And then finally, about 8 p.m., it started to go away. And you ever have a headache so long that when it goes away, your mind almost feels numb? You're just like, so yeah, I've been kind of in that euphoric, my head doesn't hurt stage for the last couple of hours, and I was bored. So I figured, you know what? Not a whole lot to talk about this week. It is a dry ass week for content. There is no significant new releases coming out until Mickey 17. And I got South by Southwest coming up. So I got a number of things I'm trying to do before then, but I figured it's a good as time as any just to have a little Q&A. So we'll just hang out for a while. Sound good? All right. What is up, everybody? Had a whole bunch of comments already before I even clicked live. Let's see. Let's go through and pick some. Are you a fan of Marilyn Manson's music? To be honest, I haven't really dove into it to give it a fair shot, but not really. He always kind of turned me off. As a kid, I always thought it was weird. I know he had the album cover where he had like his dick tucked and everything, like Silence of the Lambs. So I was like, yeah, I don't think he's really my thing. Like, of course, I know like Beautiful People and Sweet Dreams and a couple of others, but I haven't really dove into his music much. But I don't know, just never really appealed to me. Oh, any excuse me. I have a dry cough, by the way. I had a cold for like 9 days, and all the symptoms are gone, but my throat still gets irritated a little bit. So I may cough here and there. I'll try not to do it into the microphone. Any plans on watching the Walking Dead spinoff and reviewing them? No, not really. I dove back into that show when they were doing the final season, and I watched the last 4 seasons, which is all I was really dragging. And it had some good moments for sure, but I was like, oh, it just took so much out of me just to get through that. And then the show didn't even really end. Like they ended The Walking Dead and then they just spun off all of the characters into their own shows. And it's like, okay, so really this isn't the finale. This is just like you turning The Walking Dead into 5 different shows. And I just don't care. I just don't care. I haven't heard anything like overwhelmingly amazing about any of them to like really interest me. So no, probably not. There's way too many things to watch to dedicate any more time to The Walking Dead. What are some TV shows that you've been watching that we don't know about, if there are any? I finally caught up with Yellow Jackets. That's something I've been wanting to watch for a couple of years now. So about maybe a month ago, me and my wife started watching Yellow Jackets. I really liked the first season, and I haven't liked the show since. So we watched all of season 2, and the whole season I'm just kind of like, what are we doing? And then season 3 just premiered a couple of weeks ago, and I think we're like 3 episodes in, and it's kind of the same. I'm just like, what? This feels like a concept that you guys are just going to drag out for 5 seasons when it really should have been like a 2-season show. So yeah, I cannot say that overall I would recommend the show. Unfortunately, I thought the first season and some of the characters and some of the intrigue that was built was nice, but ever since then, it's just really felt like we're just kind of meandering. And the more they get into the supernatural stuff, the more I'm turned off because it just didn't feel like the show ever needed that. And they haven't gone anywhere with it to really make it interesting to where it's like, oh, cool, I'm glad they went there. Like the whole premise of the show, for those that don't know, is you have this soccer team of these teenage girls in the 90s that are going to this national game and their plane crashes in the wilderness. And so the show takes place in 2 different timelines. It shows them as girls as they're stranded in the wilderness and how they're surviving all of that. And it shows them as adults 25 something years later, basically dealing with the trauma and the aftermath of everything. And, certain events are starting to kick up in the modern day that are pointing them back towards their past. And the show literally kicks off by showing this group of like cultists chasing somebody down, murdering them and skinning them for meat. And in the first episode it shows that that's actually the girls. So we're at some point they're going to become some kind of crazy cult of cannibals. And to me that was enough. They're stuck in the wilderness, they're going to do something to survive, and so it's a show about showing how they eventually got to that level of desperation, and it's a show about showing all the aftermath and all the sins of the past coming after them. And so the more they keep getting into like the woods have some kind of a weird spirit or some kind of a witch that's making them do stuff, and all these trippy little premonitions, and I'm just like, why did it need any of that? Like that basic premise was enough. That was more than enough. And all this weird shit's just fluff. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the show will get better, but for a first season that was pretty good, I've been disappointed ever since. Oh, let's see. Super chat. Favorite dramatic performance from a comedy actor? Oh boy. Well, like the great the goat of all that is Robin Williams, because Robin Williams was known as being a comedic actor, but he's done some amazing dramatic stuff too. Whether you're talking about obviously Good Will Hunting, where he won the Oscar, but you have a bunch of other movies there where he was more on the dramatic side. Some of his best movies are like dramedies. I would say like Miss Doubtfire obviously is a comedy first, but there's some really dramatic, emotional stuff in there. You've got things like not David Fincher, Jesus Christ, Christopher Nolan's movie, which is it's escaping me now. It's late, so you guys are going to help me out with titles here and there. But it was a movie he did with Al Pacino. That's one of them. I'm going to have to Google it. I'm sorry. Right off the bat, my mind is going to mush. Insomnia. I'm sorry. I didn't even need to look it up. Ugh. Insomnia was amazing. You look at 1 Hour Photo is a really kind of wild movie from him. So he's the best. But you have some good ones like Jim Carrey's great. Most people would say Man on the Moon. I actually would say The Majestic. That's my favorite dramatic performance from him. You've got Adam Sandler, who's done things like people know him mostly for Uncut Gems. I think his best dramatic performance is Reign Over Me, the movie he did with Don Cheadle. So there's been some really, really good ones. But I would say Robin Williams is probably the top dog with all that. Are we getting a Terrifier 3 commentary with you and the guys? Probably not. I think that time has passed. Never say never, but probably not. Thoughts on Harper's Island and The Wire? Well, Harper's Island, I have no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's a TV show since you mentioned it alongside The Wire, but I don't know anything about that. The Wire, I tried to watch, I think, the first 7 or 8 episodes, and I mean, granted, this was 14 years ago, maybe, but I have the whole series on Blu-ray, and I've just never really had the interest to go dive into it because the first 8 episodes of season 1 were just really slow. And everybody always says like, "Oh, it gets good," but like, I'm just not the type of person that can be sold by the whole like, you got to watch 3 seasons and then it gets amazing. I'm like, it should be fucking amazing right away. Why do I have to invest that much time to maybe like it? And half the time when I do dive into shows like that, it's not this major shift after 3 seasons like it was sold. So I know most people say The Wire is one of the greatest shows of all time, but I just haven't really been able to take the plunge. Oh, let's see here. First time commenting on a video. Watched you for a long time. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. How was it meeting Robert Englund and Brad? So yeah, one video you'll definitely get this week is a video, like a vlog experience type video for Mad Monster Party, but it was great. I met Brad Dourif and Fiona Dourif on Friday, the first day that I was there. Both super nice. Brad's definitely a little more quieter, but I kind of expected that. I think I'd heard that from somewhere. So he's a little quieter, but he talked to me a little bit, and he super nice, signed a picture for me. Fiona Dourif is much more talkative. She's very much like Robert Englund, where you're like just in her line and you're just being entertained by all the conversations she's having with the people that are ahead of you in line. So she was super cool. We talked about Child's Play 3 a little bit, and I'll share the picture or whatever, but she kind of like, jabbed me a little bit for being a Child's Play 3 fan, which was fun. And Robert is super cool. I mean, like I've always heard from people that it's a real pain in the ass to meet him, because you'll go to a con and there's people who will stand in his line from opening to close and still not be able to meet him. And that's absolutely a reality. You're going to hear a lot of people complaining about that, even out of Mad Monster Party. But the reason why is because he takes a lot of time with his fans. He's not the type of person that just, you slide him the picture and he signs it, shakes your hand, and then moves on to the next person, which some of them do. He's somebody that sits there and talks, and he'll answer questions, and he'll tell stories, and he'll make jokes, and he'll, throw out Freddy lines and stuff. And like he makes it an experience that's worth the wait and the money. And so it was really cool. Like they basically let us in like 4 or 5 people at a time into this room that is like the private room that he was in, while everybody else was in a separate room in a line queue. And so the whole time you're in line, 4 to 5 people at a time, he's talking to everybody, telling stories. So it really feels like you get like 20 or 30 minutes with him, not just the 3 or 4 minutes you're in front of him. And he was talking about theater background and different movies and Nosferatu and some other stuff. I'll get more into detail with it in the video, but it was very cool. And the professional picture that I got with Robert is awesome. I got him to sign that one, and he's like, "Oh, this turned out so good." I think I was the only person that morning that brought him a picture of them and him. Everybody else was getting like the Freddy artwork and stuff like that he had at his table signed. And then a picture I got with Brad and Fiona also turned out very good. So it was a very good experience. I was happy. All right, here. Hey, Cody, I've been a subscriber since 2016. I don't really recognize your screen name, though, for such an OG fan. We spoke briefly at MegaCon 2022. Did we? You must not be very memorable. Have you seen Freddy's Dead? It's my personal favorite horror film. Oh, I love you, Uncle Sean. We all know. We all know. We all know Freddy's Dead. That was a funny thing, too, because is it Lisa Zane? Whoever plays Freddy's daughter in Freddy's Dead was at Mad Monster. And I kind of felt a little bad because I didn't see anybody at her table the entire weekend. I'm sure there was. I wasn't like staring at her table for the full fucking 2 days. But yeah. I don't know. Like I'm sure I know there's fans of that movie, but you're the leading lady in one of the worst horror films ever made. It's just, oof. I felt bad for her. Just watch Rumpelstiltskin for the first time. Pleasantly surprised. Have you ever seen it? Heard of it? Big fan. Keep with the great work. I've heard of it. I've never seen it. Doesn't it have Sigourney Weaver in it? Am I thinking of something else? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I feel like there's one of those weird like 90s direct-to-video fantasy horror things that had her in it. But yeah, I had heard of it. I think some kid in junior high was a big fan of that, and he would always talk about it. And I was like, whatever, dude. Sounds like it sucks. So I've never seen it, but I'm sure it's fine. Let's see here. How would you go about showing a girl a scary movie if she's not particularly into scary stuff? Get a horror comedy. Get a horror comedy. I mean, first of all, I will caution you against testing the waters with a girl of things that she's already said she does not like. If she doesn't like spicy food, guess what? She doesn't like spicy food. Don't put pepper in her food and see if you can, call her on her bullshit. Yeah. Same with scary movies. If they don't like scary movies, they're telling you that for a reason. So as long as she's not like adamant, like, motherfucker, I don't like scary stuff, I would get a horror comedy. Get something like, Idle Hands or Tucker and Dale versus Evil, or even the Scary Movies or something like that. Like something that's horror, but you can have fun with it, and you should be okay. Just don't show her like Terrifier or fucking The Conjuring or something like that. First date will be the last date. Let's see here. Hi, Sean. When do you see Daredevil? Well, I'm not Sean, but unless he has some kind of a private press screening, I think they're sending out screeners for that by the end of this week. I think we both probably got the same email where you had to sign up for it, and they're accepting emails until Wednesday. So I would assume Thursday or Friday, they're probably going to send out those screeners. And the embargo lifts probably when the first episode airs. Oh, let's see. Can you oil up? No. I'm glistening enough. Let's see here. Will you watch and or review Daredevil Born Again? Also, what's your favorite comic book show if you have any? I do plan on watching it because I did really enjoy the Daredevil show, and I'm very curious of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of this is going to be. Will I review it? It's probable. Actually, it's probably definite because I think I had to say yes to actually get access to screeners. So whether I want to or not, I'm probably going to. But yes, I do plan on watching it. It's really going to depend on one thing. As far as like an early review goes, it's going to depend on whether or not they give me the whole season at once. Because sometimes Disney tries to do this thing where they give you one episode at a time, and I'm not doing episode by episode reviews. That's their way of trying to squeeze 10 pieces of coverage out of you instead of one. And so that will be the only wrench in the system. If they're like, okay, here's episode 1, we'll call you in a week, I'm gonna be like, never mind. I'll just watch it with everybody else and I'll review it if I want to. But yes, I do plan to. It's just going to depend on how things go. right, let's see. Oh, I got 39 super chats. Holy shit. I better catch up with these. Let's see. What does Marcellus Wallace look like? Not a bitch. He's big and he's black. I know that much. Have you seen the director's cut version of Dr. Sleep? I have. I think I watched that as soon as it came to physical media. I don't remember exactly the differences to be able to like talk more about it right now because it's been a couple of years, but I do. I have seen it. And if I remember correctly, I think I preferred the director's cut. I think it only made it better. I didn't say you could stream right now. I mean, I'm not the best at following the rules, so sorry. Thoughts on the Zorro movies? Well, I know there wasn't there movies in the black and white era. I could be wrong. Maybe it was a TV show. If you're talking just about the Antonio Banderas movies, The Mask of Zorro is one of my favorite action movies of all time. I fucking love that movie. I think it's incredible. The Legend of Zorro, which was the sequel, was okay. Had a couple of cool action sequences in it, but it was okay. I only watched it once, never had the desire to go back to it. That would be one. I mean, even though The Mask of Zorro in and of itself is kind of like a legacy sequel before legacy sequels were a thing, that in and of itself would be a really cool property to go back and do like a modern day legacy or a reboot. But yes, The Mask of Zorro was incredible. Any thoughts on Peter Benchley's The Beast? It's a terrible movie, but I loved it as a kid. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. I have never seen it. I don't even know if I've heard of it. Peter Benchley's The Beast. What does that look like? If I recognize the cover art, oh, is that with the okay. Actually, I have seen a bit of that on TV. That's the one about the giant squid. I don't have an opinion on it. I just remember watching a couple like on USA or some shit like that it was playing on. Favorite Ron Howard movie? Also thoughts on Bryce Dallas Howard, good actress, but has a spotty filmography. I like Bryce Dallas Howard a lot. So I haven't seen everything she's been in, but I always like her when she shows up. Favorite Ron Howard movie? I think it's Ransom. I mean, he's done a lot of good ones. Let me look it up real quick. But Ransom, I fucking love. I'm pretty sure that's my favorite. Let's see here. Splash is a good one. Apollo 13, I didn't like as a kid, and I have not yet gone back to it yet. I'm sure as an adult, it's much better. But as a kid, I remember my uncle took us to the theater to see that, and I was like, this shit is fucking boring. So yeah, Backdraft. Backdraft is great. So that one right there with Ransom, pretty good competition. I love How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I know that it's, controversial, I guess, to say that, but I've always loved that movie. Beautiful Mind's great. Still have not seen Cinderella Man. A lot of people say that that's great. Did not care for the Da Vinci Code, so I never watched the sequels. Yeah, I'm going to say Ransom with Backdraft as a very close second. Give me back my son! I'd love to see you play the Life is Strange series in the gaming channel. They're choice-based games. I'm curious what choices you'd make. I've always been curious about those. The only thing that's difficult, like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like I'm not built to be the best gaming streamer. That's one of the reasons why I haven't really been very successful at it, because I get sucked into stories and characters. So like I get tunnel vision wanting to experience everything, and I forget about the chat, or if I focus on the chat, I don't really absorb the game as much. I don't enjoy it on the level that I should. So a game like that, if I ever do dive into it, I would not want to stream it. I would want to just experience it. So I know it's kind of a marvel to me, some people who can get really into video games and they can entertain an audience all at the same time. To me, it's just my brain doesn't really work that way. So when I do live streams, I usually end up playing the game and not focusing on the chat as much, which some people are fine with, some people really don't like, and I get that. Or if I'm it's a better experience if I'm just playing something that's kind of mindless, or if I'm playing like an online game or something that we're just goofing around having fun and not something I really have to pay attention to. Do you think the Left 4 Dead game should be adapted into a series or a movie? I don't think so. I mean, there's not really anything about it that's much different than other zombie movies aside from some of the creature design. I mean, like, what's the story there? So I mean, like, I wouldn't want to be in charge of adapting that. What would you personally like to see from the final season of Stranger Things? I don't have anything specific. I just want it to land and, have a stick to landing, be a good ending, be entertaining, be worth the fucking wait, for Christ's sake. They do a really good job with that show without me ever really needing to speculate on things. So as long as they land the ship I think every season of that show has been great with the exception of the second season. So I don't have any reason to expect that they wouldn't be able to end it well. But yeah, I don't really have any specifics like fan theories or anything. Plus, it's been so fucking long since I watched season 4. I don't even remember where we left off with certain characters. I'm going to have to watch like a recap. Would you review Human Centipede? No, I don't even want to watch them. There's certain movies that's just like I don't need that. The world doesn't need my opinion on, the movie about the 3 people who were attached lip to anus. It's just no. If Charles is still in the chat, that's his department. Do you have a video game you'd love to see adapted to a show or movie? If so, who would you want to direct and star? I mean, there's plenty. I actually think most video game adaptations should do the TV route now that Last of Us has been such a proven success, because that's been the biggest issue, among a lot of other things, but that's been the biggest issue with most video game adaptations, is that you're trying to adapt like a 9 to 10 hour experience into an hour and a half movie, and you just lose so much because you have to cut so much out of it. So like Resident Evil, if they were going to do a faithful Resident Evil, that would work very well as like an 8-episode season series. One season's the first game, second season's Raccoon City, and so on and so forth. Metal Gear Solid. I don't think there's any fucking way you can make that a comprehensible movie without cutting so much out of it. God of War, if they ever do that. So I think most video games that are worthy of having a live action adaptation should go the TV route. Movie wise, not to say that there's not some, like Uncharted, I think was a good choice to make a movie. I just don't think they made the best choices about how to adapt it. And I still somewhat enjoyed that movie, but like things like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, I think would be a good movie. Something I played recently. I haven't really played much. I don't know. I don't know. Most things that I think of, I'm like, yeah, it's better as a TV series. Meeting Martin Sheen, Giancarlo Esposito, John Carpenter, and Brian O'Halloran next month at GalaxyCon. Have you met them? I have met Giancarlo Esposito briefly. That was the first MegaCon me and Uncle Sean went to. He was one of the few people that we stood in his line and met him. So we got to talk to him for like a minute, took a picture with him. He was super nice. He was cool. And he laughed at Sean because Sean, when he put the camera up, he was like, bah, 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 bah. He took like 17 pictures and he was like, yeah, put it on blast, baby. So he's fun. He's a cool guy to meet. Martin Sheen, John Carpenter, Brian O'Halloran, I don't really know. I haven't heard anything. Like John Carpenter, I'd be fascinated to meet because I would want to know if he's actually like talkative or if he's like super grumpy and just like just hands you the autograph. But yeah, Giancarlo's cool. Top 3 spicy chicken sandwiches. Let's see. We're gonna go the fast food route. Wendy's used to be like really high up for me, but Wendy's has sucked like the last 4 times I've ate there. So I think that they're not even in the running anymore. I think Popeyes has the best spicy chicken sandwich. I think their ghost pepper sandwich is better than the regular classic or the regular spicy, though. I think the sauce is a little tastier. I think KFC has a really underrated spicy chicken sandwich. Like they got in the game after Popeyes and people were like, it's not as good as Popeyes and just dismissed it, but it's really good. You've got Culver's is a pretty good one. It's a top 3 though. I would say Popeyes, KFC, and Chick-fil-A. Chicken places tend to be the places that have the best chicken sandwich. Go figure. But those are the top 3 as far as fast food goes. I've tried some of the hot chicken places like Dave's Hot Chicken and stuff. I don't really think it's very good. So yeah, I would go for either of those. Have you seen SLC Punk? I have not. That's one of those movies from kind of my era that I missed. I'm on season 4 of Dexter. Ooh, and I'm absolutely loving it, as you should. I've seen in your past lives that you're not a big fan after season 4. Should I be worried? Well, no, that's not exactly true. I think everybody, for the most part, agrees that season 1 through 4 is the high point of the show. So there's nothing after season 4 that reaches the heights of season 4. I can tell you that. But I'm not as hard on the post season 4 seasons as most people. I think season 5 is really good. I think season 7 is really good. Season 6 I used to be a lot harder on, but this most recent watch, it's got a lot of problems, but it's entertaining. So season 6 is fine. Season 8, which is the original ending of the show, is awful. One of the worst seasons of television ever. And then you have Dexter New Blood, which has a lot of things going for it, but also just has a lot of really frustrating things about it. So I would put season New Blood just above season 8 as far like it's not as terrible as season 8, but it's one of my least favorite seasons. And then Dexter Original Sin, which just ended. It's low hanging fruit. It's nostalgia bait, but it works. So I enjoyed that one. I'd put that like right above season 6, maybe. So no, I think especially with you watching it now and not being like one of us that was waiting, 7, 8 months for a new season and then watching week to week and getting slowly more frustrated with the quality dip. Like if you're able to just watch them, I think the post season 4 seasons probably might work a little bit better. But yeah, it's not that I don't like them. It's just season 4 is the pinnacle and it never gets that good again. I feel Better Call Saul is a better show than Breaking Bad because the writers had more experience. They're both awesome, so I never really argue anybody's preference on the two. I still prefer Breaking Bad, but Better Call Saul is fantastic. So it's you can't really go wrong with either one. Cody, big fan of you watched Ted Lasso. Uncle Sean is a fan. Figured it might be up your alley. Top 3 of all time for me. I have not. I was starting to gain interest in it, and then they right when they were doing season 3, and then everybody in unison was like, "Oh, the show fucking fell off. Season 3 sucked," and then I didn't get canceled after that. So I don't know. I just didn't pick it up after that. It was like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't watch it, but I might get to it one day. Video idea, top 10 emotional films for you, movies that made you emotional, either the first time or repeat viewing because of special memories, a goofy movie. It's not a bad idea. It'd basically be 10 movies of anything that's got like emotional father-son shit. That's always what gets me bad because, I'm very close to my father. So anything that taps into that, I'm like, just bought the Blu-ray of Evil Dead 2013 and it has 2 different versions of the movie. Do you have a preference? I bought the Blu-ray that had the extended or the unrated cut or whatever. I don't think I've ever watched it, so I really don't know. I don't know if it's like actually a lot of stuff added or if there's just a little bit extended gore. I'm sure you can't go wrong with either one. The theatrical cut is great. I can attest to that. Whether the director's cut's better or not, I really don't know. All righty. Melanie Lynskey, who plays Shauna on Yellow Jackets, is extremely underrated as an actress. I've always loved her. People give her shit. They say she's wooden. I just think that's kind of her personality is kind of like which works well in that show, is she's kind of like the unassuming, like ditzy type. But like a role like that, I think it works well because she's kind of like not taken seriously. She's the housewife, whatever. And she's like fucked up and she'll fuck you up. So yeah, I've always liked Melanie Lynskey. Do you feel a Friday the 13th film can only be set in the 80s? No, not at all. I mean, I love the remake more than all of them. So no. Now, if they wanted to do a new Friday the 13th and they wanted to set it in the 80s, do I think that's a good idea? I do. I think that'd be pretty cool. But if it's going to be modern, yeah, it's whatever. There's nothing about Friday the 13th aside from like the nostalgia look of it that requires it to be in the 80s. You know what I mean? It's a masked killer running around killing people that are fucking and doing drugs. You can do that anytime. After the recent passing of David Lynch, will we see movie reviews from his filmography or a ranking, even though Inland Empire is crazy? You're awesome. No disrespect to David Lynch, but the 2 films of his that I have seen are not for me. And so I highly doubt any of his other films would be for me. And so I don't see the value in me doing a ranking or anything in his honor where I'm just going to say that his work is not on my wavelength. So not a David Lynch guy. Have you ever seen the UTV series? I'm sorry, guys. When I talk, like it literally just like I get like this little tickle right here and I'm trying not to cough into the microphone. So just bear with me. I apologize. Have you seen the UTV series? I've seen a large chunk of season 1. My wife was watching it like maybe 2-3 episodes in. I sat down and started kind of half watching it with her while I was on the computer and halfway got into it. And like, I don't know. Like the whole time I was watching it, I was like, this is like a chick flick version of Dexter. Like, I don't think I like this. Now, I've heard people say the show is really good. I've also heard other people say it started good and it's not really been very good since. So, again, another series where I haven't really heard overwhelming praise that has made me really want to dive into it. But a little bit that I watched, I was like, poor man's Dexter. Did you watch So Weird on the Disney Channel? Absolutely. I loved So Weird, and I've watched it, and my girls have watched it numerous times on Disney Plus. What are your thoughts? Would it be cool if you reviewed some horror DComs? I would love to review some Disney Channel original movies, not even just the horror ones. I don't know if there'd really be an audience for it. I think it'd be very low performing videos. But like when I did my like favorite movies from my childhood, that was a lot of fun because I could throw in some Disney Channel movies and stuff like that. But yeah, I loved So Weird. I love Jet Jackson, The Jersey. Anybody remember that show? It's not on Disney Plus, but that was always a good one. Neither's Jet Jackson. Like, it's weird, some of the shit that's not on Disney Plus. It's like, why is that not there? Bring it on. What the fuck? And then yeah, all the Disney Channel movies from the 90s were elite. So yeah, love that stuff. I noticed you don't cover up to date movie news on your channel. Like today, we got big DCU updates from Gunn. Any reason why? Just not really interested in being another news channel. I've tried doing it in the past. It requires a lot of work of like staying on top of things and writing show notes and then rushing to get live. And, you know, you get your thoughts out and then it becomes a big Q&A anyway, no matter what. And so like, I just don't really enjoy it. You know, there's people out there that do that way better than I ever will, like John Campia, 3C. There's people that they want to be the news channel, the pundit channel, and I'm just not that. If it's a big piece of news that I can do like a singular edited video on, like when they announced Matthew Lillard's coming back to Scream 7 or something, I'll make the exception and do that because I think that that's big enough where people want to hear my thoughts and I want to get my thoughts out there. But like the DC news, like, I wouldn't even know if I would say big DCU updates. Like, it was kind of just like a status update. I didn't see anything major that came out of that where it's like, holy fuck, we're getting that. Or, oh my God, this person's doing that. Nothing that would merit me getting excited enough to do a video. So, yeah, I'm not a movie news centric channel, never will be. And that's just the reason why. Some people love to do that. I just like to pick and choose what news I really discuss. Did you hear that Survivor fans get to vote on the rules for season 50, like idols or not, lose a vote or not, how many tribes? I did. And I'm going to tell you why they're doing that. Because I think they're getting cold feet about a lot of the changes they made for the last, I guess the last 7 seasons. Like basically everything in that season 4, that 40 to 50 era, the new Survivor. And I think they're using this as a definitive way to get like fan opinions. Because there's just so many different weird advantages and stuff. And I haven't even watched most of it. Like I watched season 41 and 42 and I was like, I don't think I like this new era. So I paused for a while and then I came back on like, I think it was 45 or 46. Season D1. Me and my wife watched that one. And I was like, hey, who is this? Who is this? The fuck are you doing here?
I've been coughing. Do you want someone to read the questions for you?
Oh, I mean, you could hang out, but I should be okay. It doesn't matter if I'm answering the question or asking the question. It's just an occasional little like, and then reaction.
All right, well, you can make me small.
Okay. If you guys have a question that's relevant to both of us, please chime in.
You're like 50 super chats behind. I was trying to expedite the process, not make it slower.
That is always what happens. How do I make you smaller? I haven't done this in a while.
Oh,
that didn't work.
That's bigger.
There we go. All right. So chat bitch is over there. But yeah, I've only watched 3 seasons in this era, and I can tell you I'm not a big fan of it. Like, it's still entertaining here and there, but I think most fans would say, like, no, go back to basics. This new shit, no. So I think this is their way of like, okay, let's see what the fans really think. And I think whatever the choices are is going to align perfectly with that. It's all going to be old school shit. So we'll see. But yeah, I did hear that. You once hinted around you knew some behind the scenes drama on filming of Sinister 2. Can you elaborate on any of that? Well, yeah, I have a friend that is close friends with the person who made that movie. And essentially what I was told is that they were signed on. They were very excited to take on this property and continue the story. And the script got absolutely just shit out by Cargill and Derrickson. And that's what he was left with. And initially the idea was going to end up being something where Sinister 2 was going to cause some kind of a bridge where Sinister was going to merge with Insidious, and we were going to get like this, like shared universe kind of thing eventually. And it just turned into nothing because nobody that was involved with it really gave a fuck, and they just kind of set him up for failure. Now, I could be crossing the details with a little bit, and again, keep that as hearsay. I've never sat down and talked with Derrickson or Cargill, but my mutual friend talked about that quite a bit. And I was like, wow, that actually kind of makes sense, because it was like, wow, how do you fumble the second movie with such a cool idea, and it's the same writer? So it makes sense. They didn't want to stick around for that one, so like, here's your sequel, whatever, move on. And that's what it turned into. Did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy? Yeah, I've seen all of it. It's a good show. I don't think it's not like top tier show for me, but it was really good all the way through. I think season 2 and season 4 were the best. Charles, I know you watched Sons of Anarchy. What do you think was what was the best seasons? I think season 2, the one with Henry Rollins and like the neo-Nazis, was the best one, and then season 4, I think, was pretty close to that.
Yeah, when did it start getting sloppy with Peg and that might be 5, right? We're
season 5 is where Jax is in charge of the club, and then everything after that he's in charge. Season 4, by the end of it, is where he takes it away from Clay, and then Clay gets shot by Opie. And so season 5 is the one where you have Tig and his daughters burned alive at the very beginning, and then you got the new gangster guy that wants revenge on Tig, that's like kind of manipulating things for the whole season.
Yeah,
season
it's been
6
a while, but I do remember thinking like the middle. Was it 7 seasons total? 8?
7.
Yeah, it might be 4. I do remember thinking the middle was stronger.
Yeah.
It's been, I don't know, when did it end? 10 years ago?
Something like that, yeah. I thought the last season was slow and meandered a lot until like the last 2 episodes, and then it got really fucking good.
Yep,
but
still finished better than Dexter did.
It for sure. For sure. So yes, I enjoy Sons of Anarchy quite a bit. The only thing that kind of fucked up Sons of Anarchy for me, and every time I bring this up, my dad calls bullshit. He's like, you do the same thing. And I'm like, no, the fuck I don't. He was like 4 seasons ahead of me. And I was like, I'll throw on something. I guess I'll watch this show now. So I just threw it on one day, and I'm sitting in the house. I'm like 3 episodes in, and he passes by and he's like, oh, you're watching this show? And he sits down and he's like, oh man, this is great. Wait till you see how they kill her. Wait till you see how he dies. Wait till you see what happens. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Did
you get to this death yet?
Yeah, no. He's telling me shit from like season 3. And I'm like, God damn it. So there was a bit of magic stolen from the first bit of the show, because my dad likes to talk. But yeah. Is the MCU going down the drain because of Disney Plus? I don't think that's exclusively the reason, but it's certainly one of it. Just in general, trying to do too much. And we were on a good streak, and then all of a sudden it's like you get 3 movies and 4 shows a year, and you got to watch all of them to understand this. And by the way, none of it's all that great anymore either, so it's not even like it's rewarding. And there's 10 different reasons why they've gone downhill, but hopefully they get it back. Which killer would you be most pissed was in your home? Well, like Leatherface would just fuck up my house, so that would be up there.
Pretty loud too.
Yeah. Like cutting down doors and shit. But like, goddamn, bitch, you can't just knock.
I'm trying to record something.
Yeah. I mean, fucking Art the Clown makes a big ass mess every single time too. Either one of those two. Would you ever do a series? Would you ever do a series reviewing indie horror shorts? I have one coming out myself, and it'd be a cool way to explore the broader community. Probably not. Like, I wish you well, but I get a lot of emails and things like that asking for things like that. And the reality is, if I sit and watch one person's short and review it, then I better do it to everybody else. And then my channel just becomes that. It becomes a hub for everybody else to advertise their thing on. And so it's always a tough spot because I don't want to be like cold to people and be like, no, I don't want to help. But I literally get 3 emails a week minimum from like, hey, do you want to review my novel? Do you want to review my short film? Do you want to review my script? Do you want to? And it's flattering that certain people respect me enough that they want my opinion, but I just don't have the time for that. And so I just, hopefully people understand. How much money for you to review Freddy Got Fingered? $0. I don't have like a big like aversion to it, but there's no reason for me to review it. I've seen most of it. It's not good. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Are you a fan of Freddy Got Fingered?
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I have no urge to see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hey, long time no see. When are you coming back to the West Coast? Do you think you would ever move over here with your family? When will I be back? At the latest, it'd be in next January for the next Critics' Choice Awards. Would there be something that pops up that would bring me back towards LA again between now and then? I don't know till it happens, but I don't have anything like on the docket yet. Do I think I would ever move out here with your fam? Not to the West Coast. I mean, I don't see us moving anytime soon. We're very comfortable here. We love our house. We got in at a very good interest rate before shit took a giant skyrocket, so there's no reason for us to give that up. But if we ever did move, it would have to be for some kind of career reason, probably for me. And if we did, it would probably be more likely that I would move to like Austin, Texas or something like that than I would LA.
Bill Burr is the only person that LA didn't change.
Yeah.
So the odds aren't very good for you.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I was in LA and it was cool, but I was just like, man, I wouldn't want to live here. Like all the traffic and like you got to pay for the fucking shopping bag at a store and stuff. I'm like, what is this fucking leftist shit? You can't have plastic bags. It's all California. I can assume it's all leftist. What's this leftist price on? I'm just joking around, guys. I'm not really a political person. It was a joke, but no, it was literally the first thing I did when I got there with the CVS, and it's like, do you want a bag? Sure. It's like, well, it's this. I'm like, yeah, pay for this motherfucker. What the hell is this? But yeah, it's just a weird culture. But anyway, if I moved out west, it would be like, halfway across to somewhere, a bigger city with more movie premieres and things like that, but probably not that far west. A little too far.
You just come up north of New York.
Yeah, come up to the cold. What's this leftist pizza here? No, hey, Cody, have you watched Severance yet or heard of it? I asked Uncle Sean and he hasn't seen it yet, but I talked to Austin Burke and he loves it. I watched the first 3-4 episodes of Severance, and it was one of those weird things where like I got really into it. My wife really liked it. And then something happened where we just kind of like stopped watching it. We got busy or something and never went back to it. And now it's been so long, like I would have to restart the show, which I plan on doing because I thought it was very good. And I've heard season 2 is very good. And I just like the premise of it. But yes, I started watching it and then just kind of fell off.
I didn't know Ben Stiller's the executive producer of that.
I did. And that was what intrigued me about it. Would love for you to do a studio setup tour or movie theater room tour. Keep it the good work. I might do something like that at some point because I've redone this room here very recently. I've cleaned it all out and got rid of a lot of clutter and got a brand new desk and new computer and kind of refreshed for the year. So maybe. Hey, Cody, love your channel, man. Can't stay too long, but I'm hyped for The Mob 31. The Departed is my number 2 movie, and The Untouchables is a top 10. The Departed is perfect, except for that version of Comfortably Numb. Okay. Yeah, I hear that. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. I think all of us are. I don't think Uncle Sean's going to participate. I know people have asked him. I doubt he's going to carve out the time for that. So it might just be me, Charles, Brian, and Rudy doing that one. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Hard 31. Very hard list. Very hard list.
It is. It's going to be very hard. And there's a number of first-time watches for me, which is always exciting. What are your hopes for Daredevil Born Again? I kind of answered this. Do you have any? Did you watch the original Daredevil on Netflix? You didn't? Oh,
no, I think when I wanted to, they announced that they were shutting it down. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not getting invested if they're just going to close it down.
That's my story with a lot of shows where I'm like, well, fuck it then. I'm not going to watch it.
I didn't want to watch it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't fire me. I quit.
Yeah. What are your hopes for Daredevil Born Again? I don't know. I hope that it has all the edge of Netflix and it's not softened and quippy and shit like that. It's about as base level as I can get. Let me see here.
Let the Right One In 2008 was one of the best horror movies in my opinion. Thought Antlers would be like it, but wasn't. Any hope for upcoming films like that?
Thank you. I have not seen Antlers, but no, Let the Right One In. I mean, I'm the weirdo that watched Let Me In. Excuse me, Let Me In first, and I prefer that version. I understand why people like that one more because it's a little more rough around the edges, a little bit more edgy. But I don't know. I prefer a lot of things about Let Me In. Any hope for upcoming films like that? I mean, I don't know. I get to be more specific about what it is you're asking. Like upcoming films that are like a dark vampire film, upcoming films that's like this gothic love story. Like what specifically? I think we get a lot of really good twisted horror movies. You know, horror's in a really strong spot right now. So I think we're doing good. Maybe I missed it. What are your thoughts on 28 Years Later? Are you excited for it? I'm pumped. It's my #1 most anticipated movie of the year so far. So yes, I'm very excited for it. I really enjoy 28 Days Later. Love 28 Weeks Later. Been waiting for this one for a while. The fact that they already have like a trilogy mapped out tells me that they have extreme confidence in what they have. Same creative team coming back from 28 Days Later is always good news. So I'm expecting good things. You?
Yeah. From what I understand, Edgar Wright is got something new this year, so that's #1 for me. But I think it's Running Man, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it? Is it still 2025?
Yes.
So that's my #1. But yeah, 28 Years Later, for every reason you said, it's my #2.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. And yes, I have quite amount of love for Broken Lizard's Club Dread. Highly underrated, in my opinion. I agree. That deserves a Blu-ray, but doesn't have one. Have you seen Club Dread?
I have not.
Oh,
I like Super Troopers. It's that same people, right? Yeah, I like Super Troopers. I did not like Super Troopers 2.
I paid for that, literally.
Thanks, appreciate that. I don't know. I don't remember mine. It's like a slasher film, but I never really heard much about it.
It's a slasher in like this beach resort, and Bill Paxton's in it as like.
So it's like playing up I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh yeah,
with the Jack Black character and shit.
Yeah, like Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett is played by Bill Paxton, and it's
that right
funny.
there is enough to get me to kind of look at the Margaritaville with Bill Paxton. What?
Yeah,
where's that at?
Give it a little, like, give it the first act, and you'll know if you're in or not.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know, those guys' movies haven't really hit for me since Super Troopers. A buddy of mine loved, is it Beer Fest? Is that the one that they did?
Yeah, was they drank out of the boot or whatever?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, they like their pot, it seems. Big fans of pot.
Yeah, they hide it well. Who is your favorite band? What's your favorite genre of music? Well, rock and metal, favorite genre of music easily. Favorite band? I don't know. I don't really have like a #1 because it always changes. Like for a while, I would have said Metallica. For a while, I would have said Stone Sour. There was a while I would have said Alice in Chains. There was a bit I would have said Godsmack. There was a bit I would have said Alter Bridge. Stain. So like I don't really have a #1. I just have like a list of favorites. I don't know if you're any different with that. Like favorite band is not like a favorite movie because it's always evolving thing. They release a song or an album you don't like as much, and all of a sudden they get ticked back and
it's always evolving. Like you said, Alice in Chains is my winter stuff. Metallica is what I work out to, and Deftones is what I edit to. It constantly changes. It kind of depends on what's going on with you. Exactly. I would agree with everything you just said.
Exactly. What are your thoughts on Antoine Fuqua? Favorite, least favorite films? Just thoughts on his work. He's my favorite action director. I like him a lot. Let me pull up his filmography so I could tell you a least favorite. I can tell you most favorite is probably Training Day. but he's done a lot of good stuff.
I still haven't seen Equalizer 3.
The Equalizers are all solid. Like none of them are more than like 3.5 out of 5, but they're all like in that area where it's just if you want to see Denzel fucking people up, 3 movies of that. So like Replacement Killers, pretty good. Bait, that's probably a solid contender for worst. The one with Jamie Foxx. Let's see. King Arthur, I haven't seen that one, but that one's probably, I don't remember people liking that one very much. Shooter's pretty awesome. Brooklyn's Finest was interesting. Olympus Has Fallen's a lot of fun. Equalizer's great. Southpaw, I wasn't as big on Southpaw either, so that might be up there for me. Yeah, I mean, I like most of his movies. I like what he does, and he's the one doing this Michael Jackson biopic. So, talk about walking a fucking minefield. Favorite Godsmack song and show off that tattoo. Okay, oh, wrong one.
Yeah, show the flesh.
Favorite Godsmack song. Again, I don't know if I really have one. It depends on my mood. Like, I always loved Serenity. You've got Keep Away was always a classic for me. Releasing the Demons is kind of like a one that doesn't get as much love as I think it should. Changes is great. I don't really have a favorite.
Time Bomb for me. I go old school.
There you go. Hey, the Chucky just moved behind you. I'm sure he did.
Now there's a literal Truckee next to you.
Are you less mad at New Blood's ending knowing it's not the end? I'm cynical and it depends on Resurrection's quality, but I'm still less mad. I don't know. Like, I actually watched through Dexter here very recently, binge watched through all the seasons. And I was expecting when I got to New Blood, since it's the first time I'm actually going to be able to like watch the whole thing without like week to week waiting, that I was going to like it a little bit more. I think I liked it less because all the issues with it, just like I just suddenly started to have PTSD. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot they did that. Fuck that. And so like so many things about it just made me mad where I'm like, why is Dexter doing this? Why is he being stupid? Why are they tying him to ketamine when it was M99? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Harrison, shut the fuck up. It like everything about it was just aggravating the fuck out of me. And so does the ending, I mean, the fact that it's not the ending, I guess lessens the blow a little bit, but what are they going to replace it with? Like, I thought season 8's ending was the worst you could get. And then whenever New Blood came in, I was like, okay, cool. I can appreciate it a little bit more because now we can end it good. And then I think I might like New Endings ending less than season 8. So I don't know. It really depends on what they do with Resurrection. The annoying thing is that they're kind of painting themselves in a corner with what they can eventually do with another ending because they're just like wasting endings in the worst possible way. Like self-exile as a concept is fine. The way they executed it sucked. Him sacrificing himself where he has to die so his son can live on paper, good idea. Execution, it sucked. So it's like, what else can you do that's not just going to be like a variation of him getting caught or him getting killed? That's not going to feel like, oh, they just did that again. So I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that? That's
nervous, very nervous. And like you said, on the rewatch, I think, like you said, season 8's ending kind of matches that season, whereas New Blood, that ending doesn't match that season, which makes it that much more terrible. Where it's like, oh, you were actually kind of doing something. And, you know, all of these things don't match what you're trying to tell us as far as the theme of this season.
Yeah.
And when I rewatched it, the first episode that like the police chief, she has a ring cam on her door, and that's how she knows her daughter like showed up to the house. Like that should tie into the finale, because when the leg pieces that gets dropped off at her door, she could just check the ring cam to see who dropped off the envelope with the what's his face's leg pieces in there.
And even if she didn't, his explanation is pretty fucking sound. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. The guy that you think murdered women for fucking 25 years and skipped town, even though I killed him, skipped town. Not a chance that maybe he's setting me up a little bit. You don't even think that's fucking plausible, bitch. Like, oh.
The last episode, everything falls apart. Like,
oh my God, it just pisses me off so much. Wanted to put my paycheck to good use. Hey, appreciate it, man.
$2 paycheck. God bless.
Have you ever watched an analog horror series on YouTube? I understand if you haven't, since it's like found footage. No. Yeah, if it's like found footage, that's not really my thing. We need a Child's Play 2019 sequel. I think it's been too long. I would have wanted one. I would have been fine with getting one, but now at this point, I don't think there's any shot in hell. I mean, I think if anything, Megan has completely stolen that market.
And there's another one of those coming out.
Yeah, yeah. So if they find a way, I mean, that's Universal too, so it's not MGM. I was gonna say if they find a way to merge the two, maybe, but who knows? I think you'll see the Brad Dourif Chucky merge with her at some point. Just answered that one. Thoughts on Resident Evil 0 getting a movie? I don't know why. Like, is that the thing that the Barbarian director is doing, or is it something else? Because I know he was just signed on to do a Resident Evil movie, and it was the same song and dance pitch to the fans of like, this is going to be faithful to the games, and it's like, heard that before, heard that shit before. What's going to be different this time? I'd like to see his version of it because I think just his style maybe could work. But Resident Evil 0 is a weird game. Have you ever played it?
I don't think I have. I think that's one of the few that I haven't played.
It's in the style of the Resident Evil 1 GameCube remake, where it's still camera, like tank controls, but like the updated version. But the only thing that was different with it is like the gameplay mechanic is you have two different characters and you both share a item box. So like part of the puzzle is like getting an item to the other person that they need. And
unique.
So it was unique. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. But the story is weird because it makes like the whole origin of the events of Resident Evil 1 like have to do with these little blood slugs and stuff. And so it wasn't a favorite of mine. So that getting a movie is like, well, why? Because I don't think people that even are Resident Evil fans really like that as an origin. So is that going to be your jumping off point to do another attempt at Resident Evil 1? Like, that's just weird to me. They make such odd decisions with the Resident Evil movie adaptations. It's just like, motherfucker, it's right there. Like, what is so hard? It's right there.
Too much franchise think.
Yeah. $4.99. Thank you so much. Are you over Chucky for good, or could you see that changing? Also, how would you feel about Chucky being passed down to Fiona using AI if they continue this continuity when Brad passes? Much love, man. Man, I don't even want to think about that. I just met the man 2 days ago. Are you over Chucky for good? No, I'll never be over Chucky for good. The only thing that would absolutely taint Chucky for good for me is if like the entire cast collectively was shitty to me, but I don't think that's going to happen. But could you see that changing? Like, I mean, I know they're doing a movie. When it happens, what it's going to be, I don't know. The movie could end up being good. I was just not really a fan of the direction they were going with the show. It just seems like Chucky wasn't really doing anything for me anymore. But I'll always have the older movies. I'll always love those no matter what. How would I feel about Chucky being passed down to Fiona? Like, I just don't think that she would want to do that. I think whenever Brad passes, I think Chucky passes. Like, I think that's it. So, don't really, it's a morbid subject, but I don't see that happening. Would Jurassic Park have been worse or not for you with their plan to use stop motion? I mean, Jurassic Park is phenomenal the way that it is. So really anything other than what they gave us would have made it worse. Yes. Dwayne Johnson will be in a Martin Scorsese film. Thoughts? I mean, he's got that movie about the boxer, the MMA fighter or something coming out.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Safdie brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems like he's very self-aware that he can't get away with doing the Rock thing anymore.
Yeah,
he can't
charge $50 million to be in a Scorsese movie.
Yeah, he can't do the thing where he's the same character in every movie with the same shirt and just doing the Rock. I mean, he's burned out a lot of his goodwill with the public. Some for fair reasons, some I think the public just hard on him. But regardless, whether it's the Black Adam thing, whether it's the controversy of seeming like he was trying to take over DC, whether it's the stories of him pissing in bottles, whether it's the whole like send us money to save Hawaii, me and Oprah need help, like that whole thing. I mean, there was just like thing after thing after thing after thing where everybody was like, dude. And so I think he's lost a lot of his luster, and his movies certainly aren't performing the way that they used to. So I think he's making a very deliberate decision of like, okay, I'm going to do what Dave Bautista does and actually start trying to be like an actor and trying to do some things. And I hope it works out for him. Like, I don't know The Rock. For the longest time, I always thought he was one of the more cool, normal celebrities. He always seemed to really care about his fans. I didn't really like everything that he did movie-wise, but if he starts cranking out some good shit, which is what I've said for years. Like, start doing things like you did early on, where you were doing, like, not to say people love Doom, but do things like Doom, do things like Snitch, Driver, all these movies he did, like The Rundown. Like, I want to see more of that. Enough with the fucking Disney cruise and everything else. What celebs that you've met have watched your vids? None that I can remember.
Uh-huh.
Amanda Weiss, I met her this weekend, and she did say that I looked familiar. She's like, "Have we met?" And I was like, "No, ma'am." And she's like, "I think I recognize your face." I was like, "Well, I'm a YouTuber and I talk about horror films like Nightmare on Elm Street." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." And so that's about as close as I've gotten, I think. But I mean, like, Alex Vincent, I know, has watched my channel a little bit, but I haven't actually met him yet. The Terrifier people, a number of the Terrifier people have watched my channel, so I guess that would be my answer. Like, Lauren Lavera, Damon Leone, I think David Howard Thornton's seen a few of my videos. So I think that's it. I can't think of anybody else, but I've never like walked up to somebody's table at a con and they're like, "It's you!" Like, that shit. I'd be like, "Ah, it's me.
Never mind me. Let me get your autograph.
Yeah, exactly. Favorite position? That's a Charles question. I'm waiting on your answer. Rusty trombone.
Good old, missionary.
Yeah, face to face.
Donkey punch. Not very creative with the positions.
Thoughts on John Carpenter being so cynical? If anybody's earned the right to be cynical and grumpy, it's him. When you read some of the stories, like him and Wes Craven, maybe even more so Wes Craven, when you read a lot of the stories of how a lot of their movies came together, especially the ones that didn't turn out so well, and how like you have somebody like John Carpenter that has delivered multiple all-time classics. Same with Wes Craven. The man gave us Nightmare on Elm Street, and later on gave us Scream. And like the amount of times that they had studio execs or actors or somebody else strong-arming them into doing things, and they were just stuck and fucked over. Like, I don't have any mystery whatsoever on why John Carpenter is like not making movies anymore. He was just like, fuck it. My legacy's fine. I'm tired of their bullshit. I'm going to sit here and play video games and make music until I die. And that's fine. And he's dead honest, will not mince words whatsoever about things like that because he has no reason to. Who the fuck's he going to try to protect? Chevy Chase? He's like, no, he fucking sucked. I wanted to quit movies after I worked with Chevy Chase. Fuck him. And so it's like, okay, cool. You know where John Carpenter, you know where John Carpenter stands. And so I appreciate that about him. One of the things that annoys me most about Hollywood, like how many stories do we get now where you'll get like an actress or an actor where they're like, yeah, I had a really bad experience on that one movie from 10 years ago. And like a co-star that I won't name groped me or said something really bad. And it's like, who? If you're going to bring it up, why are you bringing it up and protecting that person? It's like everybody's like with this constant like silent NDA over there. And so it's always annoying. I'm like, okay, if you're not going to say who it is. Yeah. I'm like, if you're
Hollywood shit.
If you're not going to say who it is, why are you talking? Like, I think, what was it? Like, I don't know if it was Emily Blunt or somebody that brought something up where they were like, somebody like screamed at me and I told them like, I got in their face. And then you had like The Rock and everybody else were like, who was this? I want to know who it was. And I'm like, you guys are fucking weird. It's weird. That's like a YouTuber thing where it's just like, there's another YouTuber out there that I know is like touching kids, but it's just not my place. Or like, you're like, what? Why are you bringing that up?
Yeah, fix it.
Yeah. Is the face Demi Moore is making at the end of The Substance, her head on her back with the wide open mouth, a tribute to Angela at the end of Sleepaway Camp? No.
Yeah.
I would probably bet both testicles that Demi Moore has no idea what Sleepaway Camp is.
Yeah, I've seen the behind the scenes. It was like for the aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just her like like it has nothing to do with homage. It was just that's her emotion. What celebs do you want to meet who you haven't? Mine are Kevin Smith, Eli Roth, John Carpenter, McKenna Grace. Well, I've met Freddie and Chucky, so I've kind of crossed off most of the bucket list. I would love to meet John Carpenter. I don't think he does cons, but we kind of had a little conversation in our group chat the other day where Rudy was talking about it. If Arnold Schwarzenegger ever comes to a fucking con, like he's the guy that I would drop some serious fucking money to get like a picture in a minute with him. So he would be way up there. Obviously, he wouldn't do it anymore because of his condition, but like I would love to meet Bruce Willis. So that would be a big one for me. Most of the actors that I would give that answer to are not the type of actors that would do cons. I don't know if you have a different answer.
Well, while I'm here, I'll say Edgar Wright. And then if I head over there, it's probably DiCaprio. So
yeah,
different sides
all
of the
people
Atlantic.
you wouldn't find at a con.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people. Actually, you know, it sucks. I kind of missed my chance, and now I think he's in hospice care. So that was the only chance I had. There was in was it Scarefest or something? Whatever they do in Kentucky this past October, they had the Phantasm cast there, and that would have been really cool for me. And now Reggie's in really bad shape.
Really?
Apparently, yeah, he's got like dementia and all kind of stuff. So I don't think he's
Reggie.
Gonna be Reggie Bannister, the guy with the skullet.
Yeah, he's in his 50s, right? 60s? Is it?
He's probably in his 70s. He's
is he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first movie came out in the 70s.
Yeah, I've just watched it. Thank you, Dice. And like it still seems fresh to me. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that would have been a really cool experience. And I kind of knew when I passed it up, like it would have been really hard for me to make it. And I was like, maybe next time. And then now it's like, fuck, there's not gonna be a next time. I had the same thing happen with Kevin Conroy, where the first MegaCon I ever went to, I was still kind of timid about walking up to celebrities' tables, even though that's the reason you're there. So I only did a couple of them. And I remember I looked across and Kevin Conroy didn't have a big line. And I was like, ooh, I'll get him next time because we got a panel soon. And then he passed away like 4 months later. I was like, fuck.
That sucks.
Yeah. Oops, just did that one. Are you a Mudvayne fan? Casually. I like a number of their songs. I wasn't ever into like whole albums. I actually was much more of a Hell Yeah fan once they started doing that.
Now we have neither.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I know they're trying to do some kind of a reunion thing or not. I thought it was weird.
Mudvayne?
I think so. I could be wrong. But yeah, I liked a number of their stuff. I actually thought their strongest album was the one that they left off on. The one that I think
for the people or whatever.
I'm not sure, but I remember when I bought the album, it was just a plain white cover on both sides, and you had to have like a black light to be able to see the cover and all the songs. It was kind of cool, but kind of stupid.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, let me look up the name of the album. But that was a really, really good album.
I think I liked Lost and Found the most. I think that was one with Happy on it.
That's not the one. Is it the new game? Not the new game.
The new game's got like a red cover or something.
Yeah, that's not it. Oh, the self-titled album, the 5th album, the one where it's like his face is like this and it's a fly.
Oh, I thought that was like a bluish cover.
Yeah, it was white when you bought it. When it first came out,
really?
it was just white paper on both sides, and you had a little black light that was packaged with it, and it would show the cover if you shined on it, and it would show the track listed on the back.
That's cool.
It kind of was, and then it was really stupid when it was on your shelf because it wasn't like you're going to keep the black light there, and you're like, "What the fuck is this blank album?" But like Beautiful and Strange and Scream with Me and 1,000 Mile Journey, like all songs around that one. I thought that was a really good one. Yeah. Bar exam tomorrow. I need a horror suggestion. Frailty.
Bar exam.
Favorite COD pre-2009. Not a COD guy. That would be a Charles question. The only COD I've played has been assisting him.
Me getting run over by
I'm his
trains.
Rambo.
Yeah, probably Modern Warfare, right? Like the second one, the one that everyone loves.
Yeah. I just remember you like I was playing with you and you're trying to be really careful and like avoid shit. And then I'm like, what the fuck? And then I just get on the roof of the car. I'm like,
you're like, just trying to pick up everyone's money.
Yeah, you're like, look at this fucking psychopath. I'm like, kill them all. Favorite game series: BioShock, Resident Evil, Tomb Raider. Resident Evil by a country mile. I would put Tomb Raider second and BioShock last. I've always thought BioShock was overrated. I like the first game. I've never found it to be like as mind-blowing as a lot of people. Same with BioShock Infinite. I thought it was cool. Never thought it was amazing. But Resident Evil, easily. Tomb Raider is really good shit, though, especially the modern ones. Watched Nora because of you and loved it. Good. We both enjoyed it. I think, was that your number one last year?
Okay. It was.
Yeah, it was my number 3. Good shot. It's going to pull off that best picture win, you think?
Thank you. Thank you, Amelia Perez, for all your great press.
Yeah. I thought we were heading for a sweep with that one. Everybody was just going to be like, what the fuck? Yeah. Can you please look the trailer up for Hoagie and DM me after you watch it? Hoagie. What are you setting me up for, Colby? That's very mysterious. Or like, what is this going to be? Like a horror porno or something? Something about that, like watch it and then tell me. I'm like, what does
make sure to clear your browser.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm on a fucking watch list. If you have watched Ozark, what are your thoughts? I actually haven't. I missed the Ozark thing. Did you?
I haven't.
Damn. Yeah,
I don't remember it being that big a deal.
It was always well regarded, and then like I remember it was getting ready to end, and I was like, damn, I should probably watch that and catch up before the end, and I was just too busy.
How many seasons was it?
4, I think.
Oh wow, not that much. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that much. I mean, I love Jason Bateman, especially when he does serious roles. I think he's great. So I probably will check it out at some point. What's worse, 4:30 movie or Dumb and Dumber 2?
Oh, Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, I mean, 4:30 movie is not bad. Like, this sucks. It was just like, this is, I think a lot of the hype is what killed it for me, because people were like, oh, this is Kevin Smith's best in years. This is so amazing.
That's not saying anything, though. Like, yeah, fair, you're right,
but yeah, it was like harkening back to like classic Kevin Smith, and it's just amazing. And I heard the premise of it. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, I heard the premise of it, and I was like, that sounds like it's really going to be a good thing for Kevin Smith to do. That's right up his alley. And I watched it, and I was just like, this isn't funny. These movie trailers aren't funny. These characters aren't funny.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I'm not a fan. What's the dude's name who's in all the Hangover movies, the Asian guy? And I don't think he's real funny at all.
Yeah.
And he's in this. Every time he's like the most over the top obnoxious character.
The theater owner, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know what this guy's comedy style is. I just don't get it. But people seem to love him, but he doesn't make me laugh at all.
You can tell that Kevin Smith is emotional about what he's like. That
Very
means
much.
Something to him. But
yeah,
it's just like, yeah, I need to feel something too. Please.
I thought all the references to like modern day movies were kind of lame too. Like they were so on the nose. Where like they're in the line for like talking about Star Wars. They're like, it'd be cool, like a Star Wars TV series. And he's like, dude, are you fucking retarded? Like, they're never gonna make a show about Star Wars. And it's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
Disney Plus. Yeah, and so, I mean, Dumb and Dumber 2, I would probably say is worse. That's the bigger fumble. That's the less offensive one. Or 4:30 movie is less offensive. Brian leaving the 31 and 31 horror editions. You should reach out to Brian Rowe from the Awards Contender. He loves horror and would be really interested in a unique fit with you guys. I don't know. Like I don't know Brian Rowe, but the Autop stream deal is like me and my close friends. It's not really like an open rotating door for like, okay, who's next? So
state's taken.
Yeah. And so like that's, I mean, I like having guests every once in a while, but again, it's got to be people that I know and that I trust. Like there's a very solid chance that Adam Does Movies is probably going to join us for October to fill in the Brian gap. But that would just be like a one-time guest thing. Like I'm very protective of the Autop stream energy. You know, like when all 5 of us are there, I think we have a very good group dynamic because we're all so different and we kind of mesh and contrast in different ways. And that's something that I'm not really willing to disrupt for people I don't know so well, if that makes any sense. I'm not trying to be like a gatekeeper kind of thing, but it's just like, yeah, there's a certain amount of trust in, I know these guys will get the work done, most of them on time. And
Present company exclusion.
yeah, I know these guys will get the work done. I know we're always going to have a good show. I know there's not going to be any ridiculous fucking quality issues with like the live streams and stuff. And unless it's the last one was the horrible example because like my fucking internet was being weird and Rudy's camera fucked up and Sean's microphone was fucked up. You were in the hospital and I was like, God damn. But yeah, Brian not doing Halloween 31 on 31s, or at least so he says, for however long that is, who knows. A lot of people interpreted that as like he's out, who wants in, and that's just not what it was at all. American Pie review series, that will happen for sure at some point. I don't know if that new American Pie they were pitching is ever going to come to fruition, but that's going to be one that I'm just going to do for me. I don't expect that to be a big view behemoth, but I would love to revisit those movies and watch them. I'm friends with, Cosplay Chris. He's more known as that. His channel's a lot bigger. Chris Stanley. He's a Australian guy.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. He's got two different channels. He got Cosplay Chris, where he does all the cosplay stuff. And then he has Chris Stanley, which is where he talks about horror and stuff like that. Very cool dude. But I was talking with him not too long ago, and he did like this event with, oh fuck, I'm blanking on the dude's name now. But he's one of the guys in American Pie. He was also in Rookie of the Year and Aladdin or the kid in King Arthur's Court and the kid in Aladdin's Palace. Excuse me. But he did like an event where they were screening American Pie for a bunch of fans, and he was there. And Chris made like a full-on replica of the Sex Bible. And that fucking thing was awesome. I was like, dude, that's perfect. Like all the way down to the tongue tornado page. And so just that alone, I was like, that right there, like gives me almost the magic to do an American Pie review series. Just watching Chris's video where he debuts this Sex Bible replica. Did you look up the actor's name? I assume
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, I'll do it really quick.
I was cleaning.
I'm sure the chat probably already caught up with it, but yeah, this late at night, my brain doesn't work as well.
Thomas Ian Nichols.
Yes. Thank you. Yes,
Clutch.
Thomas Ian Nichols. Yes. So he did an event with Thomas Ian Nichols where they did that, and he was going to give it away to charity, but he actually just gave it to Thomas Ian Nichols as a gift, I think. But that was pretty fucking awesome.
That's cool.
So yes, I would love to do an American Pie review series. That would be a blast. Planet of the Apes fan here. You know what would be, I'm sure you're already doing this, Charles, but what would help the most is if you could watch just the regular chat as I go through the super chats.
Yeah.
And I figured you were doing that. Okay, cool. Planet of the Apes fan here. Do you think Noah could have an opposite character arc than Caesar and grow to just trust humans more? I don't know. I would assume he's not going to have the same path as Caesar because that would be redundant. So whatever they do to be different, I'm sure he's going to go through a different path. Maybe the second chapter is going to be kind of like a dark turn. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think he's going to go on the same path as Caesar. That would be kind of a letdown. Will The Last of Us season 2? I apologize, guys. If you have not seen the game, then please don't pay attention to that comment. Guys, please be careful about stuff like that. Like, yes, the game's been out for a while, but there's a lot of people that just watch the show. And it's not like a huge secret out there, but at the same time, I don't want to be the guy that ruins the experience of that. I don't know where The Last of Us season 2 is going to end because they've already said they're splitting the story between of the game 2 into season 2 and season 3. So obviously they're going to be restructuring things. If I was to guess, I think one of the things they're going to do by restructuring that is allowing a certain character more time in the story without saying too much, even though I've already put the comment up there before I saw it. So apologies, guys. Just beat Resident Evil 3. Girlfriend now pushing me to get Resident Evil 4 going. Hell yes. Keep her. That is an awesome girlfriend. You should listen to her. She makes good choices, and she just wants what's best for you. God of Chaos, Part 2. Do you think we get a more toned-down version of mutants in this trilogy or next one? By the way, I enjoy Beneath Planet of the Apes for how odd it is and the ballsy ending. No, I don't see them doing the mutant route. I think it's going to be all about apes politics and how Caesar, like is it Beyond the Planet of the Kingdom Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, how it's about how Caesar's word has been, interpreted in different ways. I think they're going to explore that whole thing out for 3 movies and the effects it has. I don't see them going the mutant route. If you were on a jury to convict Dexter of his crimes, would you want the death penalty for him, or would you just send him to jail?
Jail.
Yeah, jail probably. I don't know. Any thoughts on the I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel? It's coming out this summer. I don't think they're going to be in it for very long. I don't know if they're going to be the opening kill or not, but I don't expect they're going to be anywhere close to main characters. I don't really know what to expect of that one. I've never been a massive I Know What You Did Last Summer fan. Like, I like the first one. Okay. Second one, I don't think is as bad as people make it out to be, but it's fine. Never really.
Third one?
The third one's awful. Straight to DVD, has nothing to do with the other two. The guy's a fucking spirit. It gets weird. But I don't know many people who have been yelling and screaming for, and I Know What You Did Last Summer legacy sequel, especially one where those 2 people you listed are not the leads, and they are certainly not the leads of this one because they added them to the cast like last minute. So I don't know if it's a tease for them to come back in a 4th or a 5th movie. I don't know if they're the opening kill. I don't know what it is. So I don't know. No excitement, not really like dreading it, but hyped for new Tony Hawk. I saw somebody tease something. There was some kind of a reveal. I assume it's just going to be a remaster of Tony Hawk 3 and 4. Because didn't they do like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 together as a remaster release? So
that I do not know. I'm not familiar with the Tony Hawk stuff.
I'm almost positive that's what it was. Like maybe 2 years ago, they did like a modern remake of Tony Hawk 1 and 2. So it would make sense for them to do 3 and 4. Now that would excite me because 3 and 4 were my favorite of the 4. But yeah, I don't know. That's also those games are kind of a product of their time. CP in that small square looks like you're conscious, like Kronk's little devil. CP's always the devil on my shoulder. Always. So the reason you reminds of Dexter is they both have Marcos Siega, who directed and exclusively produced Dexter New Blood, and he also gave the idea for Joe to the inner monologue like Dexter. Okay. So the reason you reminds you of Dexter. Okay, sorry. I was reading it and was not translating that.
Oh, yeah. You, the show.
Yes. Okay. So it literally is poor man's Dexter then. I was right. Can we please get Freddy's Dead? The final can suck my white ass. It's the line that made me an absolute fan of yours. CP, love you, man. Hope your health is better.
Getting there.
Yeah. Freddy's Dead, the final chapter can suck my white ass. Final Nightmare, whatever the fuck it's called. Rank my top 5 directors: Tarantino, Carpenter, Kubrick, Lynch, and De Palma. Well, to be fair, I have not seen a whole lot of Kubrick. I know that that's like kind of a sin, but Tarantino and Carpenter, I've seen every film that they've ever done. De Palma, I've seen most of them. Kubrick and Lynch, I don't have very much experience with. But I can tell you, just with my style of movies, it doesn't really matter because I pretty much know what I can expect from the rest of Lynch's filmography. Kubrick, not as much, but I have a good enough idea on his movies. Like, they're pop culture enough. I would say Lynch is at the bottom for me. Not a Lynch guy. I would say Kubrick right above that. Then I would do De Palma, Tarantino, Carpenter. What would yours be?
I'm very limited on Lynch. De Palma is probably another one that I'm not very keen on. I would probably go Tarantino, Kubrick, Carpenter.
De Palma's got a lot of good ones. I mean, De Palma's The Untouchables, Scarface, Carlito's Way. You get into the older stuff and you have, Dress to Kill and Sisters.
For some reason, I've missed out on Dress to Kill. I don't know why. I have never watched that, but I think it's because I know what happens. It's just like, oh, all right, well, that's kind of beat. But yeah, I often forget the things that he's made, but yeah, I can understand people being all about Lynch, but he's one of those directors where it's just like,
it's like a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
Either
I like being confused.
Like,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Dear Santa or Kind of Pregnant, pick one. Can I just get kicked in the nuts and move on?
You've watched both. That's punishment enough.
Yeah.
Dude.
They're both horrible for very different reasons. One of them is just not funny whatsoever, and it's like really weird story that has odd decisions, and the other one is Amy Schumer raunch humor, which is another epic level of bad. I mean, I don't know. If you put a gun to my head, said which one you want to watch right now, I'd probably rewatch Dear Santa.
I agree with that. Kind of terrible, more like it.
Yeah. That's what I put. I was like, kind of dog shit was my thumbnail. And then everybody else that's reviewed it has been doing some version of that. I was like, haha, beat you. Did you ever listen to the Summer of '84 soundtrack? No, I don't typically listen to too many movie soundtracks.
Poser.
Yeah, I know. Underrated horror, dark comedy, delicatessen. Trust me. Also, check out the director of that movie. Names sound familiar.
Is it Coda Leach?
It might be. Delicatessen. 1991 film. Directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Oh,
Alien
clearly.
Resurrection.
Oh.
Okay. Not as exciting of a reveal as I was hoping. Have you ever watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I've seen most of it. Not really my thing. Southern fried version of the Odyssey. What horror movie do you want to see a remake of? I'm as much as I love the movie, I think you could do something really cool with a modern Christine. Christine would be cool. The Dead Zone is another one I think you could do something really cool with.
Especially with the political world right now.
Yeah, exactly. Dive a little bit more into that, make it a little bit more of a, like a 2.5 hour type movie. Let's see. I'm kind of blanking. Yeah, I don't know. We'll go with either of those two. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah. Thoughts on maybe making a Supernatural video rating the monsters or seasons? Huge fan of yours. Thank you. I would need to finish the show first. I'm like 5 seasons or so behind. I stuck with it until the season where the end of it, Dean opened up his eyes and it was a demon's eyes. And then I kind of fell off the show for a variety of reasons, not because I didn't like the show anymore. I just got busy. And, Supernatural is part of that old school television where it's 24 episode seasons. So it's like, damn, do I have time to watch 100 episodes of Supernatural? And so I just haven't had the time to actually finish the show. But if I ever do, I'm sure I'll do some kind of a ranking video to kind of celebrate finally watching the fucking thing. Hey, Cody, got more movies for you to rapid review. Men in Black, Mask of Zorro, Face Off. Love your channel. I work in news for a living, and your channel's a nice escape. Well, that's good. Rapid review. Men in Black, very cool, very imaginative and fun, and holds up pretty well. Like the CGI is about the only thing that has aged, but it's still very fun and entertaining. Mask of Zorro is one of my favorite action movies of all time. It holds up perfectly. All the action's really well done. Face Off 97, that is an absolute classic to me. That's prime John Travolta and Nicolas Cage in the 90s. Absolutely quotable.
No more drugs for this man.
Huh?
No more drugs for this man.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Favorite American John Woo movie. And me and my dad quote that one all the time. Like, oh, looks like you're gonna be here for the next 100 years. So perfect. They're supposed to be doing a sequel or something to that too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's gonna have like Travolta and Cage in it. So I don't know how they're gonna work that into the story because he's fucking dead. But do you think we'll see?
Do you think we will see Red Hulk back, maybe even as this era's normal Hulk in this iteration of the Avengers?
I think that would be fucking stupid to have evil Hulk take over for regular Hulk when regular Hulk is still there to do shit. Will we see him again? I don't know, possibly there's some weirdness with Paramount or somebody actually having the rights to Hulk, and so
Universal. Yeah.
Universal having the rights to Hulk, and so the Avengers can only use him as like a side character. You're never going to get like a Hulk movie. And so until that's rectified, I don't think you're ever going to see anything substantial out of any of the Hulk characters. They're just going to be like glorified guest stars. I don't know how they got away with She-Hulk when that happened, but I don't know. Hey, Cody, when are you going to stop being such a beta and do a review or a ranking of Tales from the Crypt? LOL, just K, you're not a beta. I mean, I've never really seen Tales from the Crypt, so I would have to go back and watch all of them. And to my knowledge, there's not like a Blu-ray or anything out. So it'd be like really old, telesync copies or something like that to be able to watch it. So I don't, probably
Using my
not.
uncle's terminology there. Telesync, huh? Interesting.
Yeah. I had my day. I had my day back in the dusty hallways of somewhat legal
waters.
activities. Love the reviews, man. Have you seen X-Men 97? Thank you. I have not. No, I've kind of lost interest in all of Disney Plus stuff. So Daredevil Born Again is going to be an exception, but for the most part, anything that comes out on that, even the stuff that people rave about, I'm just like, don't care. Who would you party with for New Year's Eve? Tony Stark, Jordan Belfort, Tony Soprano, Bruce Wayne, or McLovin? I mean, I don't know. Like, Tony Stark would probably be fun. Jordan Belfort would just get you arrested. Tony Soprano would probably murder you. Bruce Wayne would just leave halfway through the party and you wouldn't know where the fuck he went. And McLovin, I guess of those picks, I'd probably say Tony Stark.
Yeah.
The dude behind Barbarian has said to do the next Resident Evil film on Mix on Barbarian. Do you think it'll be a faithful game adaptation? Well, we kind of talked about that about 15 minutes ago. Somebody asked another question about it. He says it will be, but you can spin it's a faithful adaptation a million different ways. If I don't really give a fuck about any idea unless it's I'm directly adapting the first game. The whole movie is the first game. They get to the fucking mansion in the first 15 minutes, and at the end of it, you have the tyrant and everything in between. If it's not that, I don't care.
Yep.
They've tried every other which way. There's nothing left to do. I have fun with the Paul W.S. Anderson movies. They're not great, but they're guilty pleasures. I had a lot of fun with Welcome to Raccoon City. But the whole time it was just like, why did they try to do 2 games in one? Like, because it was like, this path is on the right track. This half is kind of on the right track, but you're just fucking doing too much. So unless it's we're doing 1 game per movie and it's going to be a direct adaptation, I don't fucking care. Have you ever watched I Am Mother, sci-fi thriller on Netflix? It's criminally underrated. I have not. I've never even heard of it. Have you?
No.
Sorry. Hey, Cody, if you could choose one horror villain to fight Art the Clown in a Freddy vs. Jason style movie, who would it be? Pennywise, I guess, would be the most fun. Pennywise versus Art the Clown. One of them talks too much. One of them doesn't talk enough. So, yeah. Hope's all well for you, bud. Any Halloween movies going forward? I really hope they keep Jamie Lee Curtis out of it. Cheers. I mean, I wouldn't assume that it would be very smart to go back to her. It's like, you guys have already done that. I heard somebody say that was a rumor online. I was like, I don't know. I've heard that rumor forever. But yeah, whenever they get back to do another Halloween, I think that would be the least exciting thing. We're bringing her back and trying again. The Change Up or This Means War. I'll take This Means War. I like both of those movies, but This Means War is a lot of fucking fun. This Means War is the one with Chris. Fuck. No. The one from Star Trek. Anyway, that Chris and Tom Hardy, and they're both spies, and they both like Reese Witherspoon, and so they're kind of fighting over her. And Chris Pine, and the Change Up is, I think you know the Change Up, I'm sure, but that's Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman.
A body swap thing, right?
Yeah. They're both a lot of fun. Like, the Change Up got destroyed in its reviews, but it's a fucking funny movie. And I don't think This Means War was well rated either, but This Means War is probably my pick. That one's fun. Wondering if you're planning on doing more movie brawls. Really love that 2 that you've done so far. I'm sure eventually. Neither one did very well, unfortunately, so it wasn't like a huge motivation to do a third one. I know me and Charles were talking about maybe doing like a Christmas one at one point, but then December was so busy that we just didn't do it. So
There's always next Christmas.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm sure I'll do more at some point. I liked doing those, but they haven't quite caught on yet. Do you listen to Adelita's Way? My favorite song's Bad Reputation. No, I think they got really popular in like 2008, and I knew a couple of their songs when they first kind of went on the scene, and I just haven't really heard much from them since. Do you like Nico from GTA 4? I don't dislike him, but he's not a very memorable character. Tommy Vercetti is my pick if I'm going to do like a GTA character. Faces of Death remake. What do you think? I've never seen the originals, so I don't even really know. I thought they were like video nasties, like a collection of like, oh, this is real footage of somebody
Some
dying.
real stuff, some exaggerated stuff. You don't want to.
Yeah, so I don't know how you do a remake of that unless it's all fake. Were you ever into any horror-themed cartoons when you were young, such as Courage the Cowardly Dog, Billy and Mandy, Invader Zim? Actually, not so much. I was just a little too late for those shows as far as me not really watching cartoons anymore. So like my last batch of cartoons was like the Nickelodeon, like Rugrats and Rocko's Modern Life and Angry Beavers and SpongeBob, I think was like the transitional one where that show came out right as I was starting to slowly get out of cartoons. And by the time SpongeBob was in like its third season, I was kind of off to other things. Did you watch
dating
those?
chicks, growing pubes?
There you go. Mark Hamill, Chucky, had so much potential story-wise with his character growing in many ways. His kills could have been creative. I prefer his than Brad. Huh. Interesting.
That's certainly an opinion.
Cody was hoping to say hey to you this weekend at Mad Monster, but I didn't see you at all. I figured you were running all over the place like myself. Hey, I'm sorry, man. I did a lot of laps inside of the convention just to make sure that I was visible. But yeah, there were so many people on Saturday, especially, that I'm sure I was still easy to miss. So sorry I missed you. I'll be there again at some point, I'm sure. Ever thought about doing cons on the East Coast? I mean, technically I'm on the East Coast, so any con that I do that's somewhat local is that. I mean, I was just in North Carolina. There is one Nightmare Weekend. It's a GalaxyCon thing that's coming to Savannah, actually, which is the first like big con we've ever had in Savannah this November. So I'll definitely be there. I'm already kind of talking with people about doing something official with that. And you got Spooky Empire down in Orlando, which I have yet to attend, but I'm sure I'll attend that at some point. Anything beyond that, I would never travel a long way for a con unless I'm like actually working it or something like that. The farthest I've been was Arizona for Gathering of the Ghouls, but those guys flew me out, so it's a little different. But I wouldn't like put my own money up to travel hours away and get a hotel for a con. That's something I would only do if it was somewhat local to me.
It counts as officially a part of the thing.
Huh?
The Arizona thing counts as you were.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Part of
That's what I mean. I was giving like an example of like, yeah, I flew way the fuck out of the way for that, but I was, kind of part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? The second one has George Clooney. I've never seen them. Have you?
No.
Me either. Sorry, guys. Some of these questions, I don't have anything else to say. Hello there. Do you guys like Good Charlotte?
Couple of their songs.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of them were okay. I was in junior high, I think, when they were kind of getting big. So a couple of them I remember liking. I was never a big punk guy. You guys watch Always Sunny or play Souls games? I have played a few Souls games. I love Bloodborne. I had a really good time with Elder Ring, but it ended up just being cumbersome, and I was like, I'm done. I'm like 100 hours in. I'm good. Always Sunny, I have never seen though. Have you?
I keep trying to get into it, and I can't.
I've seen clips of it that are very funny.
Yeah, there's plenty of memes based on that show. So I mean,
yes.
And animated GIFs.
Hey guys, just home from work and too tired to come up with a decent questions. I hope you're both doing well. Cheers from the bottom of the world. I appreciate it. Do you watch or know Tony from Hack the Movies? I do not. I know that Adam does movies as friends with him, so I've heard his name numerous times, but I don't think I've ever interacted with him. If I have, I've just simply forgot. Got class tomorrow, and I'm up watching this. Good life choices. Big fan of Ulti. No question, just suggestion for Cody. Voice acting. You got a good voice for horror action. Also, thank you for all of Autop stream. You got me through my Navy time. Good stuff. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I've been told that a lot. Even at the con this weekend, I went to the desk and it was kind of funny. So what happened? They give you this little paper wristband, and you're supposed to just keep it on all weekend, which is always a bitch. And so I was in the shower, and the thing just fucking popped off, and I was like, "Fuck!" And so Saturday morning, I went to the desk, and I got to like the little center area where everybody was at, and somebody stopped me to talk to me. And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And we were sitting there, took a picture, and then I moved like 2 more feet, and then another person stopped me. And so we sat there and talked for a little bit. And then eventually I made it to the desk, and the woman was laughing. She's like, "I had a feeling you were working your way over here, but you're popular. Who are you?" And so I started answering questions. And then the woman was like, "Well, you got a good voice for it." I said, "Yeah, radio is not a thing anymore. So now it's just a YouTube voice or a podcast voice." Just watched The Gorge. Really enjoyed it. Did you watch The Gorge?
I did.
Did you like it? That's a no.
I liked the idea of the 2 directions the one movie went in. There's potential. I just feel like it's 2 separate movies.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Love your channel. Keep it going. Horror inspired my stories and role playing games. Your channel inspired me to do tier lists on my YouTube channel. Giggity. There you go. All right. Thoughts on House's October built? Is that a movie or a band? Never heard of it. It's I can't tell. That sounds like it could be a band. That sounds like it could be a movie.
It's a top 10 lists of houses that were in movies and featured in horror movies.
Watch, it's going to be like some ultimate classic of something. It's like, this motherfucker thought it was a band, and he's got a YouTube channel. Would you like to see Lumen and Dexter Rez? I wouldn't hate it if she showed up, but I don't think there's necessarily a need for her. I mean, he's got a lot of shit going on. I feel like Lumen's not something that's needed to be put into the mix. And like, I still don't even know what the fuck the story is going to be. And that's weird. But yeah, like if she showed up, I wouldn't hate it because it'd be interesting to see them expand on that story some. But at the same time, it wouldn't be my choice if they were like, "Hey, what should we do?" I would be like, "Ooh, Lumen."
Yeah. Focus on the story. Don't worry about the fans so much.
Yeah. Hope your night's going well. I was curious if you would be doing a 2025 best movies nominees ranked like you did last year. No, only because I did a terrible job this year at catching up with all of the best picture nominees. December just got so ungodly busy for me between content, end of the year stuff, also redoing my garage, redoing this room. So much stuff that when I got to the end of the year, like I watched a number of best picture nominees, and then all the ones that I had left were all subjects that I just was not interested in. One of the movies were 4 hours long, and I was just like,
aptly titled though.
No. Yeah.
The Brutalist.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So I did last year. I was already pretty much, I think I only had to watch like one best picture nominee that I hadn't already seen. This year, most of them were movies that I hadn't seen that were just like suddenly relevant to the last month of the year, which tends to be the case.
To vagina.
That would be one of them. But yeah, like sometimes you get the best picture nominees and it's all shit that comes out like the last half of December, and you're like, where the fuck did these movies come from? So it was one of those years. Would you review or watch Game of Thrones? I've seen Game of Thrones. I would not rewatch it. It's too cumbersome for me to go back and rewatch. I'm glad I watched it. I enjoyed it for the most part, but that is a taxing show.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any reason for me to go back and review it. It's just not something that people have been chomping at the bit for. Comments or wondering your thoughts. What?
What, Yoda?
Will you review Squid Game? Amazing series. Probably not. I haven't seen Squid Game yet. I'm a filmmaker and just finished my first feature film doing film festivals right now. It's a found footage horror. When I get it out to the public, what do I got to do to get a review? See, that's what I was talking about a little earlier. Like, no disrespect to you, dude, but I brought it up earlier where somebody was asking about reviewing short films and stuff, and I get requests like this like 3-4 times a week, and I just don't have time to. So like, I mean, I go to film festivals if I happen to be at one and it's playing. That's probably the setting in which I'd watch it and give or put it part of the ranking or something like that. But I don't tend to do request reviews or things like that because then I have to do it for everybody, and then I have no time for any content. I'm just doing that.
Create buzz so that everyone is talking about it.
Yeah, or that. Will you please reconsider doing an episodic review of Dexter Resurrection? No, this is the reason why I hate doing it. I just want to just make it clear because I'm going to keep getting that question. It was the same thing in Original Sin. They're like, come on, do it. I don't like doing episodic reviews unless it's a show like I did Last of Us season 1, and it's because every single episode there was so much that I could talk about because I have my experience with the game and I could talk about how they translated certain things. Plus, I just loved every single episode of that show, and that's a rare occurrence. I might do that for season 2, or I might not. I really don't know. But for most shows, I don't like doing episode by episode reviews because the YouTube comment section ruins it. It ruins the experience for me, because what happens is you speculate or you say like, I don't really like where this is going, or this isn't really working for me. And then you get shit on because they're like, well, it's only episode 2. You don't fucking know where it's going to happen. And so the few ruin it for the many. And so instead of it being this enjoyable thing where I'm just talking about my thoughts as the show evolves, it just turns into this miserable experience where I'm like, why am I even doing this? So it's much more comfortable for me to just wait until I have a complete picture. And I can say, okay, here's my thoughts on Dexter Original Sin, instead of giving you 10 separate videos of me saying, well, I like this, but there's a lot of fan service and some of it's weird. And I don't know why we're talking about Brian, and see you next week. And then you get to episode 2. Well, I still don't really understand why we're talking about Brian. Sarah Michelle Gellar's still not doing shit. I kind of like this, but there's weird fan service. What's going on? Like, it's just most shows. Chucky kind of ruined it for me. I'll say that. Chucky kind of ruined it where it feels like it's just 10 videos of me saying the same exact thing over and over and over and over and over again. And so you either get people that are like, yep, totally agree for 10 weeks, or you get people that are like, you're just a hater. And now I'm known as the Chucky hater, even though I'm one of the biggest Chucky fans of all time, because I spent 10 different videos saying, oh, I don't really like season 2. So that's the reason why I stopped doing episodic reviews, because it's just not worth any of the negativity. Even with Dexter New Blood, there was so many things about that where I'm like, hey, I like this, but show's kind of taken a little while to get moving. And I think it's, you know, it's a little one note that we've had 5 episodes of just Harrison being bitchy and all of this, and then it's just, that's just not interesting to talk about over and over again. So I much prefer just talking about a season after it's done. It's just more enjoyable. It's more rewarding for me. So sorry to those of you guys that aren't the negative Nancy's that I'm talking about, and you just like talking about the show as it evolves, as I like to, but it's just not fun for me. Loving the late night stream. What kind of horror movies would you guys like to see more of? I'd like to see more medieval horror and period pieces. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we get so much now.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we're getting a little of everything. I don't know.
Horror comedies, because when comedies are very bare right now.
Critical comments of your criticism is going to happen. I understand that. And it's not a matter of like, I'm not doing it if people talk about my criticism. It's just, it's not fun for me. You got to put yourself in my shoes. You want me to watch an episode and then put a couple hours of work into it to put my thoughts out there publicly just to deal with aggravation. That's what it is. Loving the late night stream. What kind of horror movies would you guys like to see? Oh, we just did that one. I know you don't like Johnny Depp as Wonka, but he's so cringe that you can't stop watching. I love his version. I'd rather watch the original. I'm a Gene Wilder guy through and through. Have you seen HBO's The Outsiders from Stephen King, stars Ben Mendelsohn? Yeah, I tried my best to get through that show. I think I literally watched everything except for the finale. I thought the first 2 episodes were great, and then it was just slow, meandering, and was not going anywhere. And so I just tapped out. That show did not do anything for me after after Jason Bateman died. Basically, I was like, oh, okay. Is there a director you would love to see make a comeback, return to their roots? Peter Jackson going back to low budget horror would be incredible. I would like to see Zack Snyder go back to something more simple and basic.
What's his face doing Frankenstein's pretty exciting. Hellboy. His name is totally
Guillermo.
Yeah.
You know what? Even Quentin Tarantino. I don't need the next Quentin Tarantino movie to be a 3-hour epic in any subject. I would be cool with him going back to like a Pulp Fiction kind of thing, or Reservoir Dogs. The tough thing is it feels like as directors succeed, they don't really want to go backwards. They want to have the big, epic, gigantic productions and Oscar buzz and everything, and they have no desire, no reason, no motivation to go back to something simple. Like I would almost say Christopher Nolan. I'd like to see him go back and do something closer to like Memento, but you're never going to see that. You're never going to see Christopher Nolan, now that he's won the Oscar, especially, do something that doesn't have like every fucking person in Hollywood in the cast. It's just not going to happen.
Nolan backs it up, though, man.
He does. I'm not criticizing most of these people. I'm just saying, like, I'd kind of like to see them go back to basics sometimes instead of always like, oh, it's got to be bigger. It's got to be bigger. Another Halloween trilogy or Jason Voorhees saying one-liners in a Friday the 13th reboot. I guess I'll take a Halloween trilogy over that. Have you listened to Max Landis' pitch for Hellbound? It's essentially Ready Player One for horror fans specifically. Isn't Max Landis like a fucking creep? Like I thought that guy, like, he was like the next thing, and then something happened, and then he was like shunned. I didn't even know he was still like giving pitches. I think he was the guy that wrote Chronicle, right? And a couple other movies.
Yeah, he kind of got me too, I think.
Do I need to block somebody?
No, I'm taking care of it. Go ahead.
Okay. Mission Impossible 7 or No Time to Die? Mission Impossible 7, was that the last one? Yes.
Yes.
So, probably Mission Impossible 7. I'm more of a Mission Impossible guy than a James Bond guy, but I really like No Time to Die. I know some people hated it. Did you see both of them?
Yeah. 7's pretty. That's Fallout, right?
No, Dead Reckoning Part 1.
So 6 is Fallout?
Because 4 is Ghost Protocol, 5 is Rogue Nation, 6 is Fallout, 7.
I think I'm still taking Mission Impossible. I don't know why I would just waste your time like that.
As long as it's not 2, Mission Impossible. Love you, dog. Which quarterback from NFL would you cast? I am not a football guy, so you're asking the wrong dude. The only quarterbacks I know of are like the fuckers you everybody knows, like Tom Brady. Was Peyton Manning a quarterback?
He's a quarterback, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, who would you cast as who? I don't know.
Just to do your work around your house.
Yeah. Would you watch a Jaws remake if they promised not to go the CGI route and stay close to the source and keep it horror? Yeah. I mean, that would be the most interesting thing. If they were ever going to do a Jaws remake, that'd be the most interesting thing for them to say right off the bat is we're building a shark. We're not doing CGI. And we're going to stick to the horror style of, some of the original. Some people say Jaws isn't horror. I think that's crazy. Ever watch Haunting of Hill House or Midnight Mass? I have seen Haunting of Hill House. I have not seen Midnight Mass. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. That's just another one that I kind of missed that's still on the list, but Haunting of Hill House is very good. I think Mike Flanagan's TV stuff is better than his movie stuff, honestly, with the exception of Dr. Sleep.
I fully endorse that statement.
Yeah. One horror movie that deserves more love. Exorcist 3.
Brain Scan.
Yeah, there you go. Do you have high hopes for GTA 6? Do you think it'll be released this year as planned and not get delayed? Honestly, I don't really care. Like, I'm one of the only people on earth that's like, whatever. The whole GTA model, I feel like it just got old for me years and years and years ago. So, like that, I don't think bigger is always better with those. At some point, it just gets cumbersome. It's like, fuck, I have to drive for like half an hour to go to this fucking mission.
I got to do every single of the 1,000 missions thing.
Yes, I am. You know how much fucking time that takes in GTA?
I couldn't imagine. No.
Yeah. Especially the older ones where you fail the mission, it just leaves you where you are. You can't restart the mission. You got to fucking trek all the way back to the guy.
Drop you off at the hospital.
Yeah, same conversation. You just had to chase the train, CJ. Fuck you, asshole. You're the one shooting. Anyway, to answer your question, high hopes. Like I'm sure it's going to be amazing as far as quality comes out, but whether the story and characters are going to be worth a damn, who knows? Will it be released this year? Maybe.
This generation needs some heavy hitters.
Yeah. What's your honest thoughts on Raimi's Spider-Man 3? I always loved that movie. It's flawed, but I love it. I love that whole trilogy. They tried to do too much. You know, the studio wanted him to do Venom. Raimi didn't like or understand Venom. He wanted to do Sandman. I think the studio was right. I think the studio knew what the fans wanted. Venom is a significantly more popular character than Sandman, and the black suit Spider-Man and everything like that was cool. And so I think what should have happened is Raimi should have done what the studio wanted. They're the ones that pay for the movie. It's their property, and should have gotten some help in writing the script and getting the Venom character to be what it's supposed to be, and leave Sandman out of it. Like Sandman I liked, but even the whole thing with Sandman about like, oh, he's the real person who shot Uncle Ben, like that whole thing was stupid. So never liked that. There's a couple of goofy spots in it, of course. Like, you know, I always thought the dance thing was funny that everybody always makes fun of. So I always liked that part, but action sequences are really good. And a couple of bad CGI shots, but the way that it all ends out with having Harry and have the redemption there and the friendship mended and the tragedy and everything, I just think the movie's really good despite obvious shortcomings.
And Sony learned their lesson with Venom.
Yeah. Would you like a John Bernthal Punisher and an Ed Norton Hulk team-up movie? No.
I'm sure the director wouldn't want Ed Norton in anything.
I mean, I don't see how you team Punisher and Hulk up. I don't think those tones mix at all. I'm sure the comics have done it at some point. Would Cobra make it in? Would Cobra Kai make it in your top 20 shows? Probably, yeah. Are you both required to wear single color outfits like adult Power Rangers?
This is slightly darker than this.
Let's see here.
Hey,
Good one. The Gift 2015 or The Resident? The Gift. I really like The Resident, but The Gift's definitely the better one. Have you seen
I
either
haven't
of
seen
those?
The Resident. I love The Gift.
Yeah, The Gift is awesome. The Resident is more B movie, but it's a good one. It's where you have Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilary Swank, where she moves.
I think I have seen that actually.
She moves into his building and they start to have like a flirtation, and then he turns out to be a fucking psycho. That's a good one. I don't care for Final Destination 4, but it's not horrible like people say. I disagree. I don't care for it, and it's because it's horrible. Yeah. It's like all super CGI'd kills and really bad characters. And yeah, I think Final Destination 4 is horrible. I think it's the only movie in that entire franchise that's not entertaining. Favorite Stan Lee cameo?
Which is the one where he's the strip club guy? That Deadpool?
Probably.
He's the DJ at a strip club or something like that?
Yeah, that's probably a good one. I liked, isn't he the delivery man in Fantastic Four? And they give him the little thing, and he's like, look at the toy I made. It's clobbering time. Like, that one's a fun one. I can't really remember too many specifically, but he's had some good ones. The one in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man's good, where he's like in the library doing shit and they're fighting in the background. If you do catch up on Severance, could you potentially drop a review of it on the channel? Love to hear your thoughts. Maybe, depending on when I get it watched.
Better than a no.
Yeah. Apologize if it gets you in trouble with the wife. Fuck, marry, kill. Topanga, Pink Ranger, Denise Huxtable. Well, I need to look up who Denise Huxtable is, because that one I must have missed.
Is it okay to be judging Topanga like that? Because we only know
Denise Huxtable is a fictional character from the Cosby Show. So that's Lisa Bonet.
Oh,
Lisa Bonet is a good looking woman. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, I'm going to kill Denise Huxtable because obviously I didn't even know who the hell that was. I'm going to fuck the Pink Ranger and marry Topanga. I'm sorry. No. Would your answer be any different? Or your wife's
I might swap Topanga with the Pink Ranger.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel uncomfortable about talking about Topanga though, because I only know her as Boy Meets World, and there were 13 on that show, if that.
No, they get to like 18, 19 by the end.
Oh, do they really? Okay.
Yeah, they get married by the end of it. You think Last of Us Season 2 will be good? What should they do for a Part 3 game-wise? Also, you ever considered coming to Pensacon? I'm assuming that's Pensacola, Florida. So, no. Never thought about coming to California for a con. Not to say it'll never happen. That's a long trek for a con. Do I think Last of Us Season 2 will be good? I have no reason to expect it will not be anything short of great, because it the first season was phenomenal to me. I thought it was perfect. So if they just keep that up, then I'm sure I'm going to love it. And I love the game, so I'm not one of those people that's waiting to be disappointed or pissed off. What should they do for a Part 3 game-wise? I think they need to do something where Ellie fulfills her destiny by the end of it. I don't know if the Fireflies are back in commission or somebody else, but by the end of the third game, I think it needs to end on a hopeful note where she's sacrificed herself for a cure, because the first game plus the second game are very bleak, are major downers in major ways. And I don't think a third game ending off the story in that way is going to be very satisfying. I think we've gone through all the darkness. I think, there's going to be some crazy shit that'll probably happen in a third game. It'll probably be violent as hell. But by the end of it, I think it needs to end on a happy / hopeful note. Do you disagree? I don't
disagree.
Thank you for all great content. We need more cheap early 2000 comedies like National Security, Wedding Days, Dodgeball, better than high budget flops. I just want comedies in general. Just comedies in general, like ones that are legitimately trying to be funny, not fucking Kind of Pregnant.
Yeah, not Netflix, straight to Netflix shit.
Yeah, just like comedies is like non-existent. The only comedy you get is like part of another genre.
Yeah. Nora.
Yeah. CP, I've been trying to get my favorite YouTuber to watch Pinocchio's Revenge. I even bought it for him in 2020. Can you convince him? 31 on 31 Killer Dolls.
No, because that means I have to watch it.
He'll watch Popeye the Slayer Man, but he won't watch Pinocchio's Revenge.
I was paid to. No, it's not even that one. It's a different one. It's Popeye's Revenge.
Yeah.
Because I heard of Popeye the Slayer Man.
Corn pop, 99 cents. Interested in Welcome to Derry? Somewhat. I mean, I'm interested in seeing more in that world, but I don't know exactly what it's going to be about. What are your thoughts on the ship Yang X Deku? What the fuck is that? Yang X Deku.
Is that some Gen Z talk right there? The ship?
Oh, like a relationship? Yeah, I don't know. The only results I'm getting is like anime stuff. I have no opinion on anything anime related, so I don't know what that is. Sorry. Stanley, are you Tony Stank? It's a good one. How do you feel about analog horror series on YouTube? Some are fantastic, especially Kane Pixels and his Backrooms videos. I've never really watched any of them, to be honest with you.
Emily watches some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like just an empty hallway, and
like
they're ominous.
Video creepypasta kind of thing.
Something like that. And yeah, they're neat. You really got to be into that kind of stuff because it's just like a creepy vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
More funny, Ted or Deadpool? Thoughts on Ted 1 and 2? I would say Ted's probably funnier pound for pound than Deadpool.
The TV series is quite strong. Talking about comedy, the Ted
Yeah.
TV series from last year is strong.
It was pretty
Uh,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ted is one of the last movies I remember seeing in theaters and just fucking crying laughing. I took my dad to see that. He didn't know what the hell it was. And they start that movie and it's Patrick Stewart giving this cute little fucking like Amblin Entertainment narration of this kid and his teddy bear. And he's just like, "The
Robin
fuck
Williams
did
and
you
9/11.
bring-" Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck did you bring me to?" And then the very next scene, he's like, "Harder, harder." And I'm like, "Oh, now it makes sense why you brought me here." But yeah, I mean, Ted in general was funny. The scene where they're fighting, I remember we're just fucking dying laughing in the theater. He grabs the antenna and starts spanking his ass with it. And the best thing about Ted, so the year that movie came out, me and my dad watched it, loved it. And that Christmas came, and my stepmom had this big present idea for my dad where she bought this dual charcoal and gas grill. It was like his big gift, and she's like, yeah, I got the best gift of Christmas. And last minute, I saw this little like lightning deal on Amazon where you could buy an actual like stuffed talking Ted. And I was like, ooh. And so I bought that and I wrapped it up for my dad. And so Christmas comes and he unwraps his grill. And he's like, oh, yeah, thanks, honey. This is awesome. This is badass or whatever. And then he goes over and he opens up mine. He goes, favorite gift. And he's like, if he talks, I'm going to love it. And he presses it and it says something like, what's up, you bastard? Or something like that. And he's like, best gift of the year. And I was just over there laughing. That's a good story. Ranked MCU phase 1 from least favorite to favorite. My favorite phase 1 movies are Iron Man and the Avengers. Incredible Hulk is an underrated gem. Ed Norton's a better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo. I liked Edward Norton better than Mark Ruffalo too. Rank them from least to favorite. So what is that? Iron Man 1 and 2 and then all the other origin ones.
Yep.
Least favorite is Iron Man 2. Then I would probably say Incredible Hulk, even though I like that a lot. Then I would go no. Iron Man 2, Thor, and I like Thor. Incredible Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Avengers.
Hmm.
And you're like, I don't care. Do you still have your Where is the Saw 5 beanie? Probably somewhere. Surprise, motherfucker. That's right. Have you ever watched a TV show called Barry starring Bill Hader? If not, I highly recommend. Easy to binge. Yes, I've seen all 4 seasons of that. Season 1 and especially season 2 are some of the best seasons of television of all time. Season 3 and season 4 I wasn't as high on, but overall I like the show quite a bit. Pensacola's in Florida near that. That's right. Not California, Pensacola, Florida. So much more possible than Pensacola, California.
Floribama.
There you go. Have you seen A Complete Unknown? Do you like Bob Dylan's music? I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, and that's the reason why I have not watched it. That's one of the Best Picture nominees that I never really got around to. Even though I love James Mangold, I was just like, I don't care. I'm not a Bob Dylan fan. Am I going to even enjoy this? And then I heard like mixed things about it. It's like one of those movies I'm like, why is this Best Picture ranked? Like, obviously Timothy was worthy of a nomination.
All about it, apparently, yeah.
But yeah, the movie itself, I didn't hear a whole lot of strong things about. That's one of the things with the Oscar nominees. It's always weird. It feels like participation trophies if you got nominated for something else. It's like, really? That's one of the best movies of the year, huh? Okay. Say so. Question for you both. Do you have what it takes to survive a horror movie?
I don't have what it takes to survive a bedroom.
I think I'd do okay. It depends on the movie. Just go watch my Would I Survive This Horror Icon tier list. That pissed everybody off. Like, damn, Cody thinks highly of himself. I'm like, well,
Jesus Christ.
My logic for a lot of them, I was like, most of the people that die are fucking stupid in these movies. Like they stand around or they go look in the dark or whatever. Like I wouldn't do all that, so I'd probably live. As soon as people started dying, I would fucking leave Crystal Lake. I'd be okay.
Maybe
And my logic for a lot of those wasn't good enough. It's like, dude, Jason would fucking murk you. And I'm like, I'm not saying I'd beat him in a hand-to-hand combat.
I'd run.
Yeah, exactly. How many times have you seen Iron Maiden? Huge fan myself. Never, actually. Never. What do you think of the show Fallout? That's another one. I watched one episode, thought it was really good, and then got busy and kind of fell off of it. But I need to get back because
How old is it? How old is it?
Fallout last year.
Oh,
The one with
from the
Walton
game.
Goggins.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that. It was good.
I saw the first episode and I was like, hey, that's
It's
pretty
quite
damn
good.
good. And then
It
I
is.
just, I don't know.
Yeah, Walt Goggins is in it.
Love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you cast as a lead for a Christine movie?
Cybertruck.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'd have to be a teenager. It'd have to be somebody like an Arnie in modern times. You could visit one GTA city. What would it be? Vice City. Easy. It's the most vibrant and fun. I wouldn't pick Liberty City because I grew up in New York. Yeah, Vice City. Do you all think Resurrection will have tone issues like New Blood since it will be in New York? Also a good gory entry anime Attack on Titan. I'm just not into anime, guys. I'm sorry. I know you got I appreciate that a lot of you guys always try to give me like these cool ones to start with or whatever. I have tried watching them. Even the Terminator one that came out last year, I tried watching with my son. I just cannot get into anime. It is so not my thing. Do I think it's going to have tone issues like New Blood? I fear that it will. But it feels like with Original Sin, they knew that they were missing that. And so I have a slight suspicion that it'll be set in New York, but it'll be a little bit more quirky, a little more fun than New Blood was. But we'll see. Any lesser known mind-bending movies, and are you going to Fantastic Fest again? Yes. Hey, Brian, what's going on, man? Yes, Fantastic Fest for sure, unless like something personal comes up. That's a yearly thing for me. Lesser known mind-bending movies. I mean, is Jacob's Ladder lesser known? That's a pretty good one. It's hard to say what's lesser known because I feel like the horror community knows everything. Like there's nothing that's like a sneaky one that we can bring in. You got any?
No, if Jacob's Ladder is lesser known, then true. No, I don't have any. No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brian. I'm blanking on that one, dude. I'll chime in later if I can think of one, but no, it's always hard for me to think of lesser known movies because my go-tos are like, it's not mind bending. Like my go-tos would be like Frailty or Session 9 or something like that.
Keep meaning to see Session 9.
Do you think Barry had a stronger ending than Dexter 8 or New Blood? Oh, of course. Of course. I didn't think the final season as a whole was very good, but I thought the ending was appropriate. Have you ever watched... What's up?
No, go on.
Have you ever watched the 70s Hulk show with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby? I have not. That was way before my time.
I'm dressed like him, though.
There you go. Brian Stevens, 199. Joe review, if seen, Nicolas Cage, Ty Sheridan. I did see that once. I don't remember specifics about it, but I remember thinking it was good. That's David Gordon Green, I'm pretty sure. Which is interesting. But yeah, it was good. It was solid. Incredible Hulk TV show has my favorite Hulk and Banner. Okay. All my friends make fun of me because I tell them Shane is one of the best Walking Dead characters. Were you a Shane fan, Cody? Shane was my favorite character on that show all the way through to the end, and he was only in 2 fucking seasons. So yeah, I thought he was the most interesting, complicated character by far. It's a shame that they had to kill him off because the comics killed him off. Like if they had just toned down his psycho side in the last bit of season 2, I think you could have had him around for a little while. And part of it's because John Bernthal is just awesome, and that was our introduction to him. But like, yeah, he went a little crazy, but like he was in a situation that was understandable. I don't necessarily support him fucking his friend's wife pretty quick the way that he did, but like the world's ended.
The world was over.
Yeah, the world's over. They think that he's dead. They try to move on, whatever. He falls in love. He likes being the dad. And then all of a sudden, that's all shattered. and he's just supposed to live with it. And a lot of what I liked about Shane is that he was the leader that group really needed, and he had to push Rick to be that person, because the way that Rick was trying to be everybody's friend was not going to be the way you survive in that world. Did you ever hear John Bernthal talk about the way that he wanted his death rewritten?
No.
So in the show, obviously, you have it where he tries to like lure Rick away, and then he has a gun, he's going to kill Rick, and then Rick distracts him a little bit and then sticks a knife in him, and he dies.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that John Bernthal wanted that rewritten was that the gun never had a bullet in it. And the whole thing was that he was pushing Rick to kill him because he knew that that's what he needed to lead this group. He didn't want to live anymore because he can't be with Lori. He can't, he can't get what he wants. He wants to be gone, but he knows that Rick isn't man enough to do what he needs to do to keep these people alive, namely Lori and Coral. But that was how he wanted it rewritten. Was he wanted his gun to be empty, like basically plays out the same way, but then Rick sees that the gun doesn't have a bullet and he realizes, oh, he wasn't ever going to kill me. He wanted me to kill him, and it was to push him to be that guy. I thought that was brilliant. Better 90s action movie, The Rock or Face Off? I'll take Face Off, but they're both pretty kick-ass.
Like The Rock.
There you go. Who's your favorite character in the Resident Evil game series and why? Love your content. Look forward to them after a long week's work. I've always been a Leon guy myself.
Yeah, I need more storage spots. So any of the chicks.
So I love Leon because Resident Evil 4 was my introduction, and Resident Evil 2 is my other favorite. So I just love his games the most. I like kind of the rookie who has to rise to the occasion, and like he becomes like the agent and stuff. So I've always liked that, his story and everything. Just learned Howard the Duck, comic book character. I always thought he was a shitty 80s movie. You learn something new every day. Yeah, you certainly do. Rank these: Repo Man, iRobot, Elysium. I'm assuming this is the Repo Man with Jude Law.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good one.
There's a theme there with those three.
Yeah. I would say all three are really good. I would give a positive big thumbs up to all of them. I would probably say, I'll go Repo Man, Elysium, iRobot.
That's literally my three.
Okay.
Oh, wait. iRobot's your favorite?
Yes.
I'm the opposite.
Okay.
Repo Man. I really love Repo Man. And
Yeah,
people are like, watch the Genetic Opera. I'm like, no.
I like this one. Cody, I remember you saying you're not a wrestling fan, but if you had a friend who likes wrestling, would you go to a WWE show? And if you paid for me to have a ticket, I wouldn't say no, but I wouldn't be like, yeah, sure, let me buy one and hang out with you. I've been to a WWE show with a friend in high school. It's really not my thing. Like, I get the excitement of it, but yeah. Do you think Art the Clown will inspire a new wave of slasher icons in the next 20 years that'll be as iconic as Freddy? No. It's not a matter of there's no inspiration. It's just, it's very difficult to create a character that breaks through the mold like that latches on, that has some iconic nature to them, that has movies that deliver and a fan base that becomes rabid. I mean, we've only had two since, in my lifetime, we've only, well, no, I don't want to get into all that. Since 2000, we've only had two. Jigsaw, Art the Clown. We have others that have knocked on the door of it, like The Collector, a couple others, but I don't think Art the Clown, like, needing to inspire a wave is the issue. I just think it's very fucking difficult to make a series of films and a signature character that just breaks through like that.
Yeah, there's like mascots, those bottom three. Like, I wouldn't even put Leatherface with Freddy and Jason. I would actually kind of put Michael Myers there.
Yeah. It's always Freddy, Michael, and Jason, and then everybody fights over that fourth spot. Yeah. It's either Leatherface, Ghostface, Chucky. Yeah. I think Chucky's easily the fourth most iconic, but that maybe I'm biased. Thoughts on the premise of the Until Dawn movie? Kind of mixed on it. My initial reaction when you read things like, well, we didn't want to directly translate the game because we didn't want fans of the game to watch the movie and know everything that was going to happen. My initial reaction is like, why do you always do this? Why do video game fans want everything to be different when it's adapted? But if you look at like book fans, it's like, don't change the book. There's a reason why we love the source material. Don't fuck around and make something new out of it. And you take all of the shitty video game adaptations, what do pretty much all of them have in common? They take the name, they take a couple characters, they make their own fucking story out of it, and it never works out. So my initial reaction was, oh, it's another one of those movies. We're going to directly adapt something that people love, but we're going to do our own thing with it. So the only thing it has in common is a couple of visuals and the name. But then I heard the concept of it, which, have you played the game?
I think so. I'd never.
You're
finished.
kind of familiar with it,
Yeah.
though, where it's like, it's got Wendigos and shit
Mhm.
like that. And it's a choice-based game. So the premise of the movie is that they're in this cabin in the middle of the snowstorm or whatever. And basically it's some kind of like a time loop thing where they have like a slasher killer that comes in and then they die and then the time fucking resets and then they get a different, kind of like Cabin in the Woods. They get a different style threat that comes for them. And it's them like basically taking the choice mechanic out of the game and putting it onto the characters of how they're going to survive. And that's creative enough that maybe it'll be cool. I still think it's weird to do a video game adaptation and not directly adapt a video game. And I think it's significantly more weird that there's a lot of video game fans that think that that's the right approach. Because when you say just adapt the game, they're like, well, I already know what's going to happen. I don't want to watch that. And it's like, that's what a fucking adaptation is.
Mm.
It's taking this and putting it in a new fucking medium. Stephen King's It doesn't become something else because they make a movie out of it. It's still the same story, same characters, same plot, just some shit taken out of it to make a movie. So that always drives me nuts with the video game debate. Marvel or DC? I tend to lean towards the DC characters. I mean, it was a much stronger argument to have before the last couple of years. I would have said Marvel always had the stronger films, but they're not doing so well right now.
Mm-mm.
You?
Pre-2008, I'll take DC. From 2020 on, neither. But I guess Marvel by default.
Jackie Earle Haley could have been iconic in Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, he could have been. I just don't think he was given the best material. He was kind of got a raw deal. Have you seen Rogue? Was a giant crocodile film directed by the guy that did the Wolf Creek films. No, I have not. I've seen a couple of the crocodile movies. I haven't seen that one. Can't wait for Born Again, mostly for Punisher. He's my favorite anti-hero in all the comics. I understand that. I love the character too. What's a comedy you love that nobody talks about?
Dinner
Charles.
in America.
Hmm?
Dinner in America. Have you watched that yet?
Is that a new one?
2020.
Have not.
You need to watch that.
Okay. A comedy
Yeah.
that I love that nobody talks about. Well, we both can agree on the Ref. Yeah, The Ref is a Christmas classic that nobody talks about. Another one, let's see. I've always Dutch is another one that's a Thanksgiving one that doesn't get quite the love of other John Hughes type movies. It's kind of a product of its time, like it's that raunch comedy of the 2000s, but I've always got a kick out of Tomcats. That's one that people
wow.
don't bring up very often.
Okay.
Jerry O'Connell, I think that's a funny one.
I
He's
like
got another
Amy.
one. He's got another one too called Buying the Cow. Have you ever seen that one? It's
No.
really early Ryan Reynolds, really early Bill Bellamy, and
Oh,
Jerry
is it one of those
O'Connell.
ones with the white background on the cover?
Maybe. But it's basically about like they're bachelors. Ryan Reynolds is the big playboy of the three. And basically it's like it's hard to explain. Jerry O'Connell had like this really traumatic experience where when he was like a 20-something-year-old, he like had love at first sight with this girl at an airport, and he went up to her and had like this magical moment and the gave her his number. And then later on they started to like be talking back and forth, writing letters to each other, and come to find out she was like a 13-year-old girl.
Oh.
And so he's like traumatized, but his best friend is getting married and he sees the invitation and it's that 13-year-old girl grown up.
Oh
And
no.
so it's actually a really funny movie. It's kind of stupid, but it's really fucking funny. So that's one that I'd throw out too. Are you a fan of Ice Nine Kills? I don't dislike them, but I've only heard a couple of songs. The song for Art the Clown was pretty decent. Everybody was sending me the Chucky one when they did a Chucky song. I didn't think that one was all that great. So I can't say I'm a fan. You listen to them?
No.
At my college bar on Halloween, there were like 6 art costumes. You don't see it at all anymore. So I'd say he broke through. Oh, for sure. I don't think there's any question after, Terrifier 1, we could debate it. Terrifier 2, I think it was pretty much a shoe-in at this point. It's like, okay, he's the next horror icon. After Terrifier 3, I don't think there's any question. Like, he's broke through. Like, he's everywhere in Hot Topic, Spencer's. Like, he's close to being a household name, even people that don't watch Terrifier. So I don't think there's any debate left whatsoever. Are you a fan of Jackass? I never watched the show, but I watched the movies, and they're funny. I don't really get into the gross side of it, where they like, take a shit and stuff like that on certain things, but, or, they're drinking cum and weird stuff. Like, I'm not into that side of it, but the launching Steve-O in a fucking porta potty, or like doing the stunts and having the bull, like all that stuff I think is funny.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home or Deadpool and Wolverine? Probably No Way Home. No Way Home is the one with the multiverse stuff, and you get the 3 Spider-Men and all the different villains.
Yeah, I might take Deadpool and Wolverine, actually.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more of a heart to No Way Home, but Deadpool and Wolverine was funnier.
Yes.
How was meeting Rob Zombie? I would hesitate to use the word meet. I shook his hand, told him my name, turned around and took a picture. So, like, if I say I met Rob Zombie, to me, that gives the context that we sat and actually had a conversation. And like, if he ran to me again, he'd recognize me. But it was literally like, taking a picture at a convention where it's like, hey, what's up? All right, snap, next. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I met him, but he was fine. He was friendly. He was standing there. Blasco brought us around. And he's like, oh, Blasco, is this your little group of friends? And I said, hey, man, what's up? I'm Cody. And hey, what's going on? He shook my hand. We all stood there, took 3 or 4 different pictures. And then we were the last one. So then he walked out and went to go get ready for the show. Highly recommend checking out Good Boy 2022. Wasn't that the one with the kids? Good Boys or something like that? I've seen that one, if that's what it was. Good Boy 2022. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, this is a Norwegian film about a guy in a dog mask. Very different movie. Okay, seems weird. Heard that Oz Perkins doing another film this year. He is. Neon is that's their boy right now. Rocky 5 is not that bad. Do you agree? I don't think it's terrible. I think it's easily the weakest of all the Rocky films, but I don't think it's terrible. I actually like a good amount of it. There's things about it that isn't so good. I like the street fight. I like the idea of him training somebody else. The stuff with his son's a little heavy-handed. Some of the 90s references, like having the guy be like Don King, it like dates it immediately, but it's entertaining. I think it's better that that's not the ending of Rocky. I think it's easier when you have the existence of Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies to kind of take a second look at Rocky 5. Wild Hogs or We're the Millers? Oh,
We're the Millers.
I love both of those movies, but I'm going to go Wild Hogs. Wild Hogs is a classic to me. That one is, and We're the Millers is one of those, like one of the last few movies too, along with like Ted and this is not the or this is the end. Like movies I remember laughing my ass off at watching. Who's your favorite Soldier Boy or Homelander? I'll take Soldier Boy just because I'm a big Jensen Ackles fan.
Of those two, I guess I'll take Homelander.
Just, just playing Rudy tonight. Whatever I say, you take the opposite.
I
heard they might do a remake of Jaws. Where? I always wondered why. There's already way too many huge shark movies, low budget or high budget, already out there. What's the point? My whole thing is I don't think they've made a good shark movie since Jaws. Like I have a soft spot for Deep Blue Sea. Yeah, I was gonna say I have a soft spot for Deep Blue Sea, so I'll count that one. But that's very like animated, like B movie, schlocky kind of movie. But like a serious shark movie, I don't think they made a good one since Jaws. So it's like, what confidence do you have that you're going to be able to touch that? What are you laughing about?
You'll find out.
Oh, will I? Outside of Michael Jackson, who would you say is the most famous musician of all time? Right now, it's probably Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I would say that. I mean, as far as the U.S., I don't know if there's international people. Like, I know Robbie Williams was a big topic last month.
Maybe Elvis. Maybe the Beatles.
Yeah. Elvis, the Beatles, they're up there. It's it's hard to gauge. Michael Jackson's number one by a landslide, and then everybody else is just kind of in this other. I have a theory. The first major studio to release a 2000 style raunchy comedy complete with edgy humor will make so much money we'll get more. Maybe. I'd like to live in that.
They need to make money for us to get more.
Yeah. Sex Drive, underrated comedy. There you go. That is the correct answer. I love that movie. Would you be down to do an interview on my channel? Message me privately on Instagram or whatever, and we'll talk about it. Would you ever do a 31 on 31 for A24 films? I saw Dan Murrell do a ranking of all the movies a while back. Well, a 31 on 31 is a theme where we do different franchises or different movies within a subgenre or something like that. If I was going to rank all the A24 films that I assume either does right now or is soon to add up to 31, I would just title it Ranking the A24 Films because that's what the video is. 31 on 31 is something a little different. Now, would we ever do a 31 on 31 where we have like A24 films versus Blumhouse films or something like that? That's kind of an interesting idea, but it would need to be something where it's different. Like we've had people say like, hey, do a 31 on this director because they have 31 films. Well, that video would just be ranking this director's films. I would never market that as 31 on 31. What's your ranking of all Osgood Perkins films? Black Coat's Daughter, Way the Fuck Down Here, The Monkey, Longlegs. Have you seen The Monkey yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I haven't know it opened here yet, actually.
Yeah, it just came out last Thursday. Which female YouTuber would you most like to do a collab? Oh, this is what you were laughing about. Which female YouTuber would you most like to do a collab with? Haunted Hippie, Possessed by Horror, or Spooky Astronauts? Well, I've done multiple things with Haunted Hippie. We know each other. I have done things on her channel, like her Oscars and a couple live streams. We've been together, whatever. She's been on my channel for a couple of different live streams too. So of course, I would do something with her in a heartbeat. She's really cool. Possessed by Horror, I don't really know her, but I do like her channel. I don't think she really integrates too much into the horror community. She just kind of does her own thing. So I don't see her doing too many collabs with other people. Spooky Astronauts is not a fan of mine. I don't know why. Don't really want to start a whole big thing about it. I went to congratulate her one day on getting a certain amount of subscribers and saw that I was blocked and went, oh, okay. So I don't know about that one. Cody, should I watch Breaking Bad? Yes. Absolutely. 100,000%. Breaking Bad is the greatest show of all time, in my opinion. That's my number one by a lot. So I can't recommend it enough. Osgood Perkins also directed Gretel and Hansel. Oh, okay. Well, then I would put Black Coat's Daughter, Gretel and Hansel, The Monkey, Longlegs. Little Nicky or Happy Gilmore? Happy Gilmore. Like Little Nicky's good. I
Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
Little Nicky. I'm a defender of it, but Happy Gilmore is one of his best.
Indeed.
So that one's kind of an unfair. Like Little Nicky or fuck, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like another mid-tier like Adam Sandler. Little Nick.
Click.
I really like Click though. Little
Hmm.
Nicky or Click is better though. That's closer than Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
All right, we're caught up on super chats finally.
Nope.
We're not. Fuck. Just kidding. Just when I thought I was out. Are you interested or already watched Severance? I've watched the first couple episodes of it and then got busy and kind of fell off. I don't know like a reason to tell you why, but I did like the show and I do have every intention of going back and finally catching back up with it and watching it again. Very intriguing premise. Rocky or Adonis Creed? Rocky. I love the character. I love the character of Adonis Creed, and I love what Michael B. Jordan has done. But Rocky, every single day, yes, and twice on Sunday.
No.
All right. Okay. So we're 2 hour and 35. So I'll try to make it until we'll say 2:45. So like another 20 minutes or so. How are you? Are you good?
Yeah, if you see the sun over my shoulder, maybe I'll get going. But
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll do another 15, 20 minutes or so and just do some we're getting super chats again. But I'll try to do a couple of regular questions. Sorry, guy. We spent an hour and maybe almost 2 hours catching up on super chats.
there you go.
Do you plan on doing weekly Last of Us season 2 reviews like you did for season 1? That is the only show that I would entertain the idea of doing weekly episode reviews. But it, like for what I said earlier, it's because there's a lot more I can talk about. It's not just, hey, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like about the episode. I can talk about how each individual episode translates from what they did in the games and things like that. So it is possible. It's much more likely I would just do a full season review. I don't see myself doing live streams for this one, but it's possible I'll do episode by episode reviews because that shows a big conversation piece when it comes out. So it's a little more appealing to me. What did I just click on? Every time I see a review or a trailer of the new Stephen King movie with the toy monkey in it, I always think about the 3K
Mystery Science Theater.
Mr. Science Theater episode Merlin Rock and Roll Martian. I have no familiarity with what that is.
We're better.
Best underrated horror film you'd recommend? My recommendations, people are always Lake Mungo or Hell House. I've never seen either of those. My go-to is always Session 9 and Frailty. Those are always my two picks for underrated horror movies. Would love to see Tommy Gunn in Creed 4. I don't think you'll ever see that character again. People hate Rocky 5. I don't think there's any reason to bring him back. Plus, the actor
dead.
Yeah, he's dead. So I don't think that would. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Any chance at another We Watched a Movie collab? I don't think I've ever done one collab with them. We did the Hallow Stream stuff way back in the day where we were both guests on somebody else's channel, but I mean, possibly that they're doing their own thing. We tried to do a collab once and didn't end up working out. So there's not like a reason we haven't collabed. I think we're both busy and they don't really do guest stuff too much that I've seen, and neither do I. We kind of just both do our own edited stuff. And so I'm totally open to it. I'm sure they are too, but yeah, there's no reason it hasn't happened. Just hasn't. Let's see here. Hellraiser or Leprechaun franchise? I mean, I would rather binge watch. Well, I don't know. There's quite a few Leprechaun movies though. Ugh, that's tough. I don't think the Hellraiser franchise is as bad as its reputation is. It's just very kind of one note. It's tough to watch all of them. Leprechaun has less of that issue, but I think the overall quality of the franchise as a whole is lower than Hellraiser. So I will say Hellraiser is probably a little bit better franchise. There's more high points. Let's see here. Hit 800 subs on my movie channel the other day. Good. Awesome. Going to South by Southwest next week for the first time as well. Well, you'll see me there. I'll be there the whole time. How many of your hot takes have changed but haven't talked about? I don't think any of them have changed. I can't think of a specific one or like a list of them that I've given where I can like think in my head and go down them, but I don't think any of them have changed. Do you think Johnny will be in Karate Kid Legends? No, I don't at all. I think that's going to be just Daniel LaRusso. Any plans to review Rudderless or The Way, Way Back this year? I always have intentions to review movies like that. It's just a matter of when I get in the mood to do it. I'm always very intimidated to review movies that I'm very, very, very close to, because I don't know. I always feel like I'm not going to do a good enough job with it or something like that, which sounds silly, but yeah, it just depends. The mood has to strike for movies like that. Like I just had to be in a mood where I'm like, I want to talk about this. I want to do a video on it. And I want to put energy into it. And just, it's a matter of when that happens. We answered your question about the Ice 9 kills. Go back like 7 minutes ago. All right, couple more. Meet the Parents, greater than every Farrelly Brothers movie? No. Greater than everything from 2003 or 4 onward. Meet the Parents is amazing, but I think that was it Dumb and Dumber, There's Something About Mary, I would take those over Meet the Parents. I really like Me, Myself, and Irene. I know you're a big Kingpin fan. I would take Meet the Parents over Kingpin.
Oh, bad take.
And then, yeah, I can't think of any other Farrelly Brothers movies that I would like really go to bat for. You know what? You know what one I actually like? Talk about underrated comedies. Do you remember? What is the name of it? It's the movie with Heather Graham. Say It Isn't So.
Oh,
it's with Chris Klein. He was the guy who played the jock in American Pie. And it's that whole thing where like he falls in love with her and then they find out that they're siblings. That's a fucking funny movie.
It's been a very long time. I
got Richard
do
Jenkins,
know what you're talking about.
Richard Jenkins in it with the voice box. Turn it to channel 7, dipshit. That's a funny movie. Did you hear about the Deadpool director say to fire? No, that's not the Deadpool director. That is the comic book creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld. He had a big falling out with Marvel because they didn't invite him to like the after party at the premiere or something like that. So he's been just saying a bunch of shit about Marvel and Kevin Feige ever since. So yeah, his latest one was to him saying that they should fire Kevin Feige, but he's not the director of any of the Deadpool movies. He's literally just the guy who created the character for the comic books. Got to go. Thanks, Cody, for answering my questions. Hey, man, have a good night. Appreciate it. Pick a movie icon from any genre. Invite them over for a meal. Who did you pick and what will you cook? A movie icon from any genre. Oh, wow. Maybe like John McClane.
Burgers.
There you go. Trying to think of like a good answer. I bring over one of the people from Goodfellas and make some Italian.
Oh. Yeah, any Joe Pesci character from a Scorsese movie. Yeah.
What's so fucking funny about me? I know you were disappointed in Wolfman. Does that lower your overall opinion of Leigh Whannell and or excitement for his next movie? I mean, I'm sure when his next movie comes out, I'll have slight bit more hesitation to it, but Wolfman is such a weird one. Like, I still can't compute that Leigh Whannell made that movie. And I don't know. It doesn't feel it's hard to have complete ignorance of the process of how that movie made and actually make an informed decision. But it feels so foreign to what I know his movies to be that like I can't help but default to thinking that somehow the studio is responsible for that, or like they didn't give him enough time to write it or to shoot it or something. Like it just, I don't know. Everything that's wrong with Wolfman is not something that you know to be wrong with anything that Lee Winnell has ever done.
Right.
Like it just doesn't make sense. All right.
That was
let's see.
brutal.
Huh? Wolfman?
It was brutal, yeah.
Yeah,
Boring.
it
And
was rough.
that's a big time problem for me. I don't mind bad. Just don't be boring.
Well, why do you think Banshee wasn't more popular? Because it was on, was it Cinemax or Stars? It's the same thing with like Ash and Evil Dead. It wasn't on one of like the big networks.
Yeah.
Hey, Rudy here. Wolfman was great, better than Abigail. No, it was not. No, it was not. I don't know if you're serious or just fucking with me, but no. It's no. Let's see here. A couple more thoughts on Daredevil 2003. It's okay. If you watch the director's cut, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Is there films in February you watched but haven't reviewed yet? I don't think so. I want to try to see Love Hurts before the end of the year or at the end of the month before I do my little month ranking, because I did want to check that one out, the one with Ki-Hu Kwan. But I don't think I've seen anything that I haven't done a review for. I could be wrong. I could be forgetting something. All right. What should the story be for Ready or Not 2? Do you have an idea for that? Because I sure as shit don't.
No.
I don't know. I'm very curious of how they're going to do that.
I mean, similar premise, I'm assuming. Like someone's going to the house and
It's Samara Weaving. She's back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a focus on her, whatever they do.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you work from that ending, and
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's messing with Cody. I don't know with Rudy anymore. Sometimes Rudy says shit just to get on my nerves, and other times he says stuff he's dead serious. I'm just like, who are you? What do you think about The Last House on the Left remake? Have you seen it before? Yeah, I mean, I'd rather watch that than the original, but I'm not really a big fan of either one of them. Anything that's like anything that's a part of like the sexual assault revenge subgenre of horror, I just don't really get into. Sorry, my nose is starting to itch like crazy. It's just not really my thing. They're just kind of miserable to get through. Like the revenge side of stuff you can watch. But yeah, I like the remake better than the original just because the kills and everything are more satisfying, but I don't really care to watch either of them again. Don't rush. Love Hurt sucked and had beast mode in it. Yeah, I've heard it's not very good, which is why I didn't make it a huge priority, but I still want to see it. Let's see here. All right, what are we at? 2:47. I'll go I'll go another 3 minutes or so. It's 2:33 a.m. here, so it's pretty late. You guys want to throw in some last minute questions? Worried for Black Phone 2. I really hope it's not a Sinister 2 situation. I'm with you. I'm curious of what it's going to be. Now, what gives me faith is that Derrickson stayed on to direct. It's not like they're passing it off to somebody else like they did with Sinister 2. But I don't know what story it is. I don't know if it's a prequel. I don't know if it's a sequel or if they're resurrecting the grabber or what the hell's going on. I know the story of how you met online, but when would you say you and Uncle Sean became personal friends? I mean, we just talked and did videos together for quite a while. I mean, we became friends pretty quick, but just over time, you get a lot closer with people. So I don't know at what point I would like say like Sean's one of my best friends, but we hit it off pretty quickly. Why is The Prestige never mentioned as one of Nolan's best? Because people are wrong. I don't fucking know. That and Inception are my two favorite films of his. Here's one for you. What are you hoping they do with Scream 7?
Don't. I'm hoping they don't. I don't know.
Don't release it the same weekend as 66.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like they're just doing like casting gimmicks.
Yeah. They're pulling anything they can to try to like do fan servicey stuff to get some goodwill back, I guess.
Yeah, without seeing it, I don't know how you bring Stu back unless you do like part 5 and have him be like some sort of flashback or I don't know, Force Ghost or something. Like it doesn't sound great.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really trust the director of Teaching with Mrs. Tingle as.
I don't either. I think it's fucking weird to have him come back and direct and not write it.
Mm-hmm.
If he was writing and directing, I'd be like, sweet, but he's not writing. And I'm like,
yeah.
What is the thing that Scream fans love about Kevin Williamson? Again, remind me.
Yeah, I'm not excited.
Weird.
I'll say that much.
All right, let's see. We'll do 2 more questions. Well, okay, 2 more super chats, 2 more regular questions, and then we're getting out of here. So please, no more super chats, guys. Thank you so much for the support tonight, but we are trying to close out the show, so please don't squeeze in any last ones. These last 2 here, Shane and Gregory, are the last 2. Shane Winter, thanks for all the entertainment. Cody, do you read horror books? I do not. If so, Negative Spaces by Yeager. I finished it Saturday. I've been in a daze ever since. I appreciate the recommendation. Yeah, I don't really read much. Once in a great while, I'll get in the mood to read something, and it's usually like I'll do like a graphic novel or something like that. Like the last thing that I read was The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing. But I'm just not a reader. I just don't get into it. So I appreciate the recommendation, but yeah, I don't really get into reading. When do you think we'll hear about Terrifier 4? As far as what? They've already announced it. When do you think we'll hear about like a release date? I would say by the end of this year, probably you'll get some kind of an announcement of when to expect it. I would expect it to be 2 years from the last one. I think they have like a 2-year turnaround between 2 and 3. So we'll probably get it 2026, October, something like that. But who knows? It depends on a lot of factors. All right, now I'm going to do 2 regular questions, and then we're done. I'm playing a Resident Evil 4 remake challenge, pistol only, no merchant professional. No, I thought that was a question. Sorry. Good luck. Interstellar is the highest rated movie on IMDb in the past 10 years. Do you think it's overrated? I don't think it's the greatest movie that's been released in the past 10 years. So if we're operating under that, then yeah, I would say it's overrated. In general, do I think it's overrated? Not really, because there's people who love it. There's people that are okay on it. I think it's appropriately rated in general. I think it's visually very well made. I think that the concept that it goes for is very interesting, the way that it does time bending and stuff. I just think it kind of falls apart in the last 15 minutes for me. Everything with him floating behind the bookshelf, I've always thought was just way too out there. This is a good one to end on. Cody and Charles, do you still have as much fun doing YouTube as you did when you started? I'll let you lead.
I don't know if I've ever had fun. No. Fun. Life's kicking my ass a little bit with health and stuff. So right now it's a bad time to answer that question, because right now, no, not having as much fun as at optimal times, but we're in 2 totally different universes as far as like trajectory. So I don't know. When I do stuff with this guy here every half year, kind of gets my creative juices flowing. So it depends on what I'm doing.
Gotcha. I probably have more fun doing it now than I did when I started. When I started, it was difficult because I had shittier equipment. It would take me all night to render a video. It would take me hours to upload it. The quality wasn't as good there, and it would take me forever to edit it. So I have much more fun now just because I can get an idea out and I could get it the way that I want it to look a lot faster. And so, success aside, just the process is much better now than it was when I first started. I mean, I've got like a $6,000-7,000 Mac Studio that's powering shit now. So it's just like whew, everything's so fast and easy. Versus when I started, it was a little fucking Toshiba laptop where you go to click play on a clip and you got to wait for 30 seconds for it to load, and then it would like glitch out. And to me, that was normal. That was how it was.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I think I have more fun doing it now than I did when I first started, for that reason alone. There's other reasons, but that's the main thing. All right, guys, we went for almost 3 hours. It's almost 2:45 in the morning here, and it's like almost like lunch where you're at this point.
7:40.
Yeah, this is really fucking early. So thank you guys for all of the questions, all of the super chats. Thank you, Charles, for coming in. And
I was willing to read for you.
I know. So thank you for coming in and breaking up the monotony a little bit. Everybody, I hope you have a good morning at this point. And as far as content this week, it's kind of a dry week because there's not really much to talk about, but you can look forward to a Mad Monster video at some point. I'll probably do at least one other thing this week as well. And then next week, I'll be at South by Southwest. I'll be in Austin, Texas, starting on Thursday for about 9 or 10 days. So they're premiering The Accountant 2, Death of a Unicorn, Drop, a couple of others there. And there's a whole bunch of indie movies I don't know about that I'm sure are going to be cool and exciting too. So once we get through that, I'll finally be done traveling for a little while, so I'll be able to relax a little more. But that's what to look forward to soon. Anything to look forward to on your channel?
Catching myself up with old Dexter, I have a theory that I haven't seen anyone talk about with a certain creative mind, and I'm trying to catch up with all of their work to get behind my idea, my thesis for an argument about who really is the best creator behind Dexter, and we'll see where that goes. The
Okay.
Dexter stuff is driving me right now.
Gotcha. I'm going to guess it's not Clyde Phillips.
No.
All right, guys, that is going to be it for us. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Bye.